Subscribe to Dave's Multiverse.
Greetings, humans. I don't know why the music's still playing, so I got to stop it. Let's just delete that or something.
What planet is it today? Earthlings, Terra, greetings. We're happy to be here.
I don't know why I did that twice. Greetings, humans. We are live in the multiverse for a very special episode of Mars Disclosure Live. Is that doing that? Is that me echoing? What's going on?
It sounds fine to us, or to me rather.
Dude, check your pump. You might still be a little bit in the fifth dimension. You gotta put all the way in this one before it sounds right. Okay, it's a weird echo when you get stuck between.
I'm just hearing myself talk like over and over again, but I guess I'll have to deal with it. All right, we got two delegates from the Institute for Natural Philosophy, Jason Huffman of the Shaman and Philosopher podcast, and Sarah Cosmos of the Universe Unveiled podcast, independent researchers uncovering ancient history, resonances, and alternative philosophies that challenge conventional narratives. Jason, what's up, my man?
What's going on, Dave? I love you, man. How you been? Everything going good with you?
I'm great, man. I'm actually having the best week I've had in 5 years, so let's get it. Sarah, what's up? How you doing?
I'm good. Glad to be here.
Excellent. Next, we have Jean Ward, renowned independent Mars researcher and graphic designer specializing in anomalous structures, megaliths, and out-of-place artifacts discovered in NASA imagery. How's it going, man? What's going on in South Africa?
Hello, fellow Martians. Well, man, yeah, the southern hemisphere, it's very nice. Raining, but all right. A little bit cold. But it's good to be here. Thanks for the invitation.
You're welcome. This is a community, so let's go. Cory Dobbs is next, award-winning filmmaker, director of Mars Disclosure, director of Mars Disclosure documentary Blue Planet Red, and journalist pushing the boundaries of what's known about Mars. Brian, love you, buddy. Thank you for joining again.
Dude, Dave, let me just say here, this is really exciting to be a part of this, for you guys to be here discussing this today. This is the beginning. And Dave, I want to thank you for taking the initiative to do something like this. It really does mean a lot. Speaking on behalf of the Mars community, I'm sure we're gonna be getting more guys in here to talk about their specific line of work. But I really want to extend my gratitude for you, Dave, for taking the time to do this, and for everybody here. Thank you very much. I hope to make this well worth your time. We got some exciting stuff to talk about today, and wow, this is awesome.
Hell yeah, and we already got 33 people, and I just want to say that we are live on my X channel, my YouTube channel, I believe the Shaman and Philosopher and Universe Unveiled. We're also live on Jean Ward's channel and Blue Planet Red, Cory Dobbs. But next we have my lovely producer, Miss Indonesia Jones, whose curiosity and compassion shines through in all the stuff she does. That's why she's dressed up for us today. I got my Occupy Mars shirt on, but she's got me beat. So let's go. All right. Thanks for joining, Megan.
I went all in this week from the feedback from last time. So.
Perfect. So thank you for joining. And also, we've got my producer, Alexander Cheshkovich, my editor, Alexander Cheshkovich. He's a podcaster, researcher, and author of Deja Vu Has Everything Already Been? Link down below. Awesome book. The dude wrote it when he was 17, all right? And this is a serious book. So check it out. Oleg, how's it going, brother?
Thanks for having me on. Can't wait. It will be really, really interesting. Can't wait for what will be unfolded today.
Yes, sir. And we are going to talk about the cylinder on Mars today. We're going to do a little bit of what Jean does with his imagery, I'm pretty sure. And we're just going to have an open and honest discussion. We're going to, everyone's going to come at this stuff with their own perspective. We're going to see what happens, right, Brian?
Yeah, man. Should we get started?
Yeah, rock it.
Okay. First, let's just.
Did I get everyone? Yeah, I got everyone. Yeah, we're good.
Okay, cool. Let's just do a general recap for everybody in the room. We have some new people joining us today. We've got some, hopefully, some new viewers in the mix here. We are gathered here today. Okay, We're talking about Mars disclosure. You can find anybody out there, planetary scientists, NASA, a whole bunch of people from academia to talk about Mars. We're talking about Mars disclosure. Okay, so what does that
just
mean?
a tiny paradigm shift. It's all we need. It's really,
Yeah, exactly. And what this really requires, thank you, Jason, because that's where I'm going with this. A few years ago, I knew nothing about the stuff we're going to be talking about. And it really wasn't until I started looking at all of the pieces of evidence and all the research that's been done that tells a very different story about Mars. And I know each one of us in the room here on a different journey as far as how far along you are in terms of what you know about this stuff. So hopefully we can sort of do a little bit of a recap, but then introduce these things, because it's any one piece of evidence that we talk about, I know it's not enough to move the needle. But when you look at all the evidence in totality, there is something going on here with Mars, and it was enough for me to jump in the game. And what we're to really fully appreciate what has been done thus far, we have to shine a spotlight on the people who have been following this topic for years now. Jean is one of them, and I'm glad we connected last year, Jean, or whenever it was, 2 years ago. And we're gonna be talking about another one here in just a moment. But disclosure, in a nutshell, what we're talking about related to Mars, we're not today, but in general as we go along doing these things, we're going to be examining all of the evidence for current biology on Mars. We're going to be examining the evidence for fossils. We're going to be examining the evidence today for artifacts, which is where we left it off last time. So I'm happy we can pick it back up, because the cylinder is just blowing up right now, relatively speaking. And last time we looked at structures. So when we look at these strange things on Mars, I want to go around the room as we talk about these artifacts and get everyone's take on it, because sometimes we'll present something and it doesn't work. That somebody might say, I'm not buying it. I'm not sold on it. But then we present something else and maybe that works. So not all these artifacts are going to work, so to speak, for everybody, and that's fine. What I'm trying to do is to really prove this wrong, in a sense. Is there really nothing to what we're seeing? Because if that's the case, then we're just wasting a bunch of time. I don't think that's the case. So I don't think it necessarily requires a degree in geology or anthropology or archaeology, paleontology, or biology. I think it's just a matter of common sense when we're just looking at these things. What does it look like? We're going to be getting into that today. So, the cylinder. You guys have probably heard about this, maybe even seen pictures. We're going to be examining this in detail today. Now, Jason, thank you very much for linking to the New York Post. I mean, guys, this is incredible progress here. We've got the New York Post. Love them or hate them, doesn't matter. It is a very popular news website. And just this past week, they posted an article on this gosh darn cylinder.
Amazing.
That, for those of us in the Mars community, we've, been aware of this now for a while, but we're really trying to get the public aware of this kind of stuff. And this cylinder provided such a great entry point for those who haven't been following any of this stuff. Dave, what do you got?
I just wanted to say,
Ricardo
motherfucking Calvario is here.
Where'd he go? He was here.
I don't know.
Busy
Ricardo.
off the
Hello,
trail. Busy off the
Yeah.
trail of documenting actual evidence from the wizened ones. Look how he slides in. Look at you, bro. What's up?
I didn't mean to interrupt you, Brian, but I just thank you
It's
so much,
cool.
Ricardo, from the Institute for
Thank you.
Natural Philosophy, joining us from the road, actively working on stuff. So thank you, brother. Thank you for joining.
Thank
Where
you.
are you?
I'm sorry I'm late. I'm in the Arboretum in Madison.
Amazing. Very cool. I
The
want to talk to you
natural
about that
park.
another time.
Wisconsin. Yeah.
So I'm really glad Ricardo's here because Ricardo's one of these people who've been following Mars for a while now. He's hip to all this already. This is old news for him. So Ricardo, as we go along here, hopefully you can add some historical context. What I've been doing, Ricardo, is trying to frame this idea of Mars disclosure and how throughout the past 50 years there have been people working sort of behind the scenes on this all along. And it really hasn't been given a fair shake in the media and a fair shake with the UFO crowd or the ancient history crowd. And I get the feeling that that's about to change thanks to everybody here in the room today. So, Ricardo, since you've been covering this for longer, what's your take on it, on its evolution?
Well, I think that you were saying that this is all news for me. Well, not quite, because it's the work of Genuard and others that was bringing new stuff into the table. They keep discovering things, and these are the things that now are important to take ahead because the rest is already done, right? And unfortunately, although it has been as widely distributed as possible, especially to the ones in power as the UN and the Congress by Richard Hoagland many years ago, it didn't cause any public awareness. So with this new material, with this new technology, with the possibility of discovering and enhancing these images and applying geometry to them and show us that they have to be intentional, I think that's the step that we have to move forward here. In fact, the work that I'm doing here is very similar because I'm working with Jim Shears trying to show that there are sacred geometry in these mounds, in these ancient structures that could be pre or by the indigenous peoples. So it's basically it's the same thing. The difference is in here we're working on Mars and here we're working on Earth. But the problem remains the same: is the acceptance of that capacity, which in Mars' case is even worse because it's a different planet. So, and I think we're going in the right direction with the work of Jan, for instance, and others.
Well said. Richard Hoagland, those of you, some of you might be familiar with his name. He was what I like to consider the Nick Fury of the Mars disclosure community, back in the 80s and 90s. He was getting in touch with the scientists, putting together a team, an independent Mars investigative team, to look at these strange things that they were photographing on Mars. And why did he do this? He did this because he had a personal curiosity, and because NASA didn't. NASA wasn't doing any serious archaeological study. They weren't entertaining any of these ideas, And when you start off with the face on Mars, such a controversial structure, it sort of marginalizes the whole topic immediately. Like, oh, great, we're going to pin the whole idea of artificiality on the face. Now, we can talk about the face another time, but since then, since the 70s, even if you go back to the original photographs and what Carl Sagan himself was saying, he's saying, hey, there appears to be what look like pyramids on Mars. We talked about this last time. But a lot of people sort of lost interest after that. Okay, there was this weird stuff happening on Mars. Maybe there's a face, whatever. But then, yes, decades later, there's an entirely new generation of people looking at Mars. And I was compelled to get in touch with these people because I think I really saw a story here. And I didn't see this crowd getting the attention it deserved. So let's go to the cylinder. John, you don't happen to have the black and white image handy, do you?
No, unfortunately, I lined up the color image.
That's fine. I got it right here.
Oh, you got it. Okay.
Yeah. Let me just bring it up here.
Megan, are you on that?
Oh, does Megan have it?
No. I mean, is she going to pull it up? You have to we have to give you permission when you pull it up. So
okay.
just want to make sure.
This is a very fascist podcast, so he holds control of everything.
Well, sometimes we both do it. That's why I let you in, and then she accidentally let you out, and then I let you back in. So
You should actually sort of pretend like you're asking the intercom system, because that is Starfleet Cadet Megan today, so you might as well assist the efforts, Dave, and let's keep it,
Got it.
Don't break the fourth wall, man.
Okay, so has everyone seen this?
Yeah.
Before?
Yes.
Okay.
I wonder.
I think this is this is what I was alluding to last time. I think this is the strongest piece of evidence for an artifact on Mars. There are others, but I think this is the most easiest to see and most obvious, even to the untrained eye. And I guess that would lead to the next question: what is a trained eye for Mars artifacts? I don't know. Actually, before we dive into this, Dave, what I want to do is, in the spirit of highlighting the original discoverer, let's see, can you guys see this?
Yes.
This is Rami. This is Rami Bar Alan from Israel. He is the guy who discovered this back in 2022. Okay, Rami, I haven't heard from him in a long time. I had one Zoom meeting with him a very long time ago, and fortunately, he was very open to showcasing some of his finds and some of his discoveries in the film that I did. I wasn't able to get an interview with him, but this is a picture taken from his Facebook page. So I'm trying to get in touch with him now, and I got my my partner in England who's a little closer to him, and I don't know if Rami knows that his cylinder find has been making such headlines in recent times. But, credit goes to people like Jean, people like Rami, who spend their spare time sifting through hundreds, if not thousands of images. Okay. And they're finding this stuff, and they're posting it to their website. And it's only because there's a few other people paying attention, like my producer and partner Michael in England, who said, "Hey, you got to check out this guy Rami. He's finding some cool stuff." And I said, "Okay, let me take a look at what Rami's got." And I was sifting through some of his stuff. I'm like, "Holy smokes! Here's what appears to be this perfectly smooth cylinder." So we have a guy in 2022 finding this thing. I connect with him. We showcase it in the film. And then when I meet up with Jean, what Jean is able to then do, based off of his expertise, is enhance the imagery. And we're going to be looking at how exactly that enhancement happens. And then after that, I start poking around a little bit, because I started figuring out how NASA hosts their photos and all the different websites that they have. I actually found a color version of this, which we'll be looking at later, which shows even more detail. And then I start producing some video content. I sent it to somebody I know down in Florida, a biologist. His name is Jan Spacek. And he ultimately sends it to Avi Loeb. Avi Loeb posts this on his blog, and then it gets picked up by the New York Post. So there's this long journey that this photo had to take to get this sort of attention, and I want to make sure that we go back and we credit the original people looking at this stuff, because if it isn't for these guys taking their spare time to find this stuff, we would be here talking about this. So I wanted to make sure we got in Rami here, because this is an incredible find, and he deserves a lot of credit. So if we go to the cylinder itself, where the heck is my mouse? Here we go.
Nobody else has said I will. Bravo on that. That's one of the reasons a lot of us, we have our personal reasons for originally choosing to work with people. And, that's one of the reasons. It's self-evident, things like that, Brian, that you do. So just thank you for being you on that, bro. And thank you to the discoverer. Thanks,
Jason. I appreciate it.
Yep.
So here we have the black and white image. This is what he found. And we're going to hand it over to Jean in just a minute. But let me first preface this by saying NASA only posted this black and white image to their website, to their public-facing website. The way I got way I found the color image was through essentially a private website that is mainly used for NASA themselves and academia. It's not really supposed to be accessible for the public, even though it is. You just have to know where it is, and somebody has to tell you, and it's not intuitive, and it's not meant to be seen as a public-facing website. It's a really complicated tool, but they happen to have more photos there, even color photos, which begs the question, why don't they publish the color photos front and center on their public-facing website? Why isn't it on nasa.gov? Hey guys, we found this cool cylinder. It leads us to only speculate as to why. My take is that they really don't want to be in the business of disclosure, because that opens up a whole can of worms that they'd just rather not address. Now, if you zoom into this image, what you see is this god-awful filter, this grid-like pattern. Okay. And we can enhance this, which we're going to ask Jean to do in just a moment. But first, I think, correct me if I'm wrong here, but to my eye, this looks obviously different, even with this low resolution photograph, quote unquote, with this grid-like pattern on top of it. The anomaly still presents itself. In my opinion, this was enough to say there's something going on here, because what it looks like to me, and I want to know what it looks like to everybody else, but it looks like a perfectly smooth, cylindrical, solid cylinder amidst a very rugged landscape. And we can get into what we think this might be later and sort of see if we can address what the skepticism might be.
We know the scale of what we're watching.
We don't exactly, but we can talk a little bit more about that in detail. I'm just simply saying it looks so much different than the rest of the environment that it warrants taking a closer look.
If I were out in the environment, I'll just toss in my half a cent. If I were out in the environment, meaning you scale out there, and let's say I think I found a layer of something native, right? And so I'm happy, and my eyes are scanning, and I'm going, oh, look, it's native. I would scan and see that, and I would feel disappointed. I'd go, oh, shit, it's a drainage ditch. This is all upheaval from construction, it's not what I think it is. Yeah, I mean, that's just my immediate reaction to when you try to scan the whole landscape and then see that object within it.
So thank you, Jason. Jean, can you tell us more about what this grid is that we're seeing on top of it?
Yeah, it's actually called a biofilter. It was developed by Eastman Kodak many decades ago to encode color photographs to grayscale to reduce their file size. Because obviously when the Curiosity rover... Can you hear me?
Yep,
And
we got
quality. I just asked file size and quality. Is that it?
Oh, yes. Yes. Well, not so much the quality, but the biofilter does make the image look a little bit blurry and not so high resolution. But when you run it through a script in DaVinci Resolve, which I've done as well, specifically on this item to convert it back to color, its resolution is fine. It surprises me that NASA actually publishes the grayscale photos with a biofilter applied. I don't know why they don't just de-bio or decode the images and then upload the color photographs to the public website.
Well,
So here-
In my opinion, they could be doing that to make it more difficult to spot anomalies, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It makes it look like a photograph from the 50s or something, and here we are almost in 2030. And then when you zoom in and you see it is indeed a grid, then I want to examine the whole photo at that point, because I see there's something they don't want easy to find.
Sure. And Brian will know more about this, but there was a report. There was a request for a report on all of this subject. So finding anything that looks like artificial out on space or in planets, and what would be the recommendations of the panel that was asked in regards to this kind of information. And their information was very conclusive in the sense that all of this shouldn't be public awareness. because it's need to know basis. That's why when they have a new background image of the universe is as high resolution as they can, or a galaxy, it's as high resolution as they can put it. They even give us the TIFF files, right? But when it starts to go into these kind of details, they do the opposite. And I think that's all because of that protocol that was applied after that report was received by the powers that be.
Yeah, I think, Ricardo, what you're talking about is this thing called the Brookings Report.
Correct.
Yes, this was, for those of you who don't know, back when there was no NASA and they were forming the agency, there was a consulting firm, it's still around today, called the Brookings Institution. And they put together this founding charter that would essentially guide how NASA would operate. And in it, you can go look at this. It's even got a Wikipedia article, okay? I featured this in the film. In it, they say, hey, look, if you go out and start exploring the solar system, you might find alien artifacts on the terrestrial bodies. And consider what to reveal to the public. Think whether or not you actually want to talk about this with regards to the public, because, you know, history shows that when I'm paraphrasing here, just distilling this down. History shows that when presented with, you know, a superior, when certain tribes confront other tribes, there's this conflict, and if one tribe is superior than the other, then they have just societal chaos and breakdown. So think very carefully whether or not you actually want to reveal this to the public. So there's reason to believe NASA is still running that playbook. They just don't want to talk about this stuff, but it's literally in writing. So we don't have to sound so conspiratorial, because there's a document that actually says this. Now,
Yeah. They hide under the fear of ontological shock, you know, is
Yes.
again, that they throw that fear up there and they say we're protecting the average human from going into some sort of a shock because you learn you're not the only life form, and it's ridiculous, you know.
It's my opinion that when institutions say they're protecting you from something, they're almost certainly hiding
Control. Yeah, it's a mask for control.
If you look, for instance, for the Vatican has a very active and very well funded extraterrestrial search program. So that is controlled by Jesuits, of course, because they are the holders of the knowledge. But they are doing it in the belief that it wouldn't change necessarily the position of God, because the message of God was given to this planet specifically, and that doesn't mean that God couldn't englobe the whole universe with other species. So they are ready for this for more than 20 years. They came up on a documentary with a leader of the astronomical team speaking about this. So, but they want to be the first in order to control the information, of course, exactly as NASA is doing, because she's the first and probably one of the unique that are in that position. And so they want to control the narrative, and that it happens in so many disciplines. It's no surprise anymore. So.
Yeah, that's true. So what we do here, this filter, just to sum up here, this filter is meant to encode color information in a way that they can reduce the file size for transmission, and then sort of decode it once it gets to Earth, and they can extract the color from that. We'll take a look at the color photographs here in a minute. But so what we first have to do is take off this filter, you know, and this is what Jean Ward is really good at doing. So Jean's got a process for removing this filter to make it look a little bit more like a normal blurry photograph without this grid on it. And again, in my opinion, still this anomaly holds up. So I think that's a good spot then. John, you have the color version queued up?
I do, and I'll be demonstrating how gigapixel upscales images.
So let me just preface this. What we're going to do here is take a closer look at this color photograph, and I want to show the before and after of what Jean really is good at doing, which is this upscaling process to try to help bring out a little bit more detail. And then I want to go around the room here and get everyone's thoughts on their reactions to this and what you guys are thinking about this. So Jean, go ahead and open up the upscaler tool. Share your screen.
Alrighty. Can you guys see my screen?
It's coming.
There we go.
Okay. Right. So just for context, Topaz Gigapixel was developed by Topaz Laboratories in Texas. What they do is they use deconvolution mathematical algorithms to upscale images. The deconvolution algorithm or mathematics was developed decades ago, before AI or image upscaling was even a thing. So Topaz Gigapixel uses deconvolution and it upscales images using artificial intelligence. But that mustn't be a put-off because NASA actually uses Topaz products as well, precisely because of its upscaling capabilities and how accurate it actually upscales images. So I'm going to start with the cylinder, and this is it open in Topaz Gigapixel. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to upscale it, say, 4 times. And I'm going to allow the upscaler to choose a model to use. I'm going to click on Auto. It looks at the photograph in totality and it decides which upscaling model to use. And then obviously you've also got certain parameters you can set so that you can adjust the amount of denoising, what do they call it, compressing the photographs. You can alter the sharpness of the photos, etc., etc. So here you can see what it looks like when it's upscaled 4 times. And when I click on it, this is what it looks like originally. So if I release my mouse, this is what it looks like once it's upscaled. So if you click between the two, you can see it's producing relatively accurate results. I don't know if you guys can still hear me.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got you.
Oh, you're still there. Okay. Now, if you use other upscaling models, you'll see they're not as good. They might be a little bit more blurry. They might be adding detail that isn't really relevant. So yeah, it's using the standard upscaler. And then, so for example, I'm using the Recover model. This is the latest one, and it takes quite a while to run through the upscaler. Yeah, I'm selecting one that Gigapixel
3 feet.
didn't select automatically. So yeah, you must be careful with the parameters that you use.
What's the size we're talking about there, John, for the audience? I remember somebody saying 3 feet or something like that. Is that correct?
It's about 20 centimeters in length. Ovilobe indicates the same, 20 to 30 centimeters in length. And he actually suggests that NASA turn the rover around and go back to this thing.
Listen, I'm not confident on the size. I don't know how Avi got that. Do you, John?
Well, Brian, if I look at the photographs that were taken on the same sol when the rover was in that position, and you look at all the other photographs it took surrounding this terrain, you could speculate quite accurately, in my opinion, that this thing is about 20 to 30 centimeters in length because the camera is looking down. If you look at the photographs that it took around this object, you'll see at a point, you'll see part of the rover, the wheel, etc., etc. Then you can deduce that this thing is about 20 to 30 centimeters in length.
That means, for those that are in inches, that means a little bit less than a a open palm from your small finger to your.
It's the length of a rule or a ruler. What do you call it in the States? A foot.
A foot is 30 centimeters, but so
Yeah,
it's the
it
size.
is
It's the size of a normal toothbrush.
about the length of your forearm. The length of your forearm.
You see, the
Or a little longer.
problem I have with this is that when you're viewing this through the analyst notebook, which is where I got this image, there is a ruler tool that lets you measure things in the photograph.
Oh, did it work? Did you get it? Did you manage
No,
to measure it?
and that's the thing. The ruler tool is
Yes.
disabled for this image.
Exactly.
So to me,
It is.
this looks like a hillside that is meters away from the rover, and in which case 20 or 30 centimeters just seems to be too small. That's just my take.
That
but
is, you could be right. It could be longer. It could be a meter in length.
I want to go around the room and tell me. I want everyone to tell me what they think. Right after Jean gets done here. So go ahead.
Okay, so yeah, it's used the newest upscaling model called Recover. And you can see if I click on the image, this is what conventional magnification would look like. When I release the mouse, that is what it looks like after it's upscaled.
Yeah, very good result.
So I'll toggle. So I believe that gigapixel is one of the better image upscalers to use on NASA photographs because the deep learning is applied when NASA uses this tool to upscale its photographs. So in my opinion, the models are using the deep learning that the algorithm has learned over the period that it's been used.
Okay, so
So
you
that
said
filters down to the models that we use to upscale the NASA photographs.
you said this was taken by the rover.
Yeah, the Curiosity rover.
Okay, so do we have any image that includes any part of the rover so you can use a scale, understand the distance, anything?
No, I haven't lined that up for the presentation, but I can do that.
You understand what I'm saying, right? So
Yes. It's just going to take a while for me to do the search.
because if this is far away, that could be 100 meters long, right? We don't have any idea. But if it is just looking, because it looks like a big downhill over there, but it could be a very small thing, because if people that do macro photography know that even they can go into a small line of water in the sand and it can look like a gigantic river. So there's without a scale, we can't understand what we're looking at. 'Cause
No, we
this,
can
this,
only.
this would be the length you're talking about. So if you stretch your hand, this is 22 centimeters, right? So it looks too small for that, but
When you're done, I'd like to see some of the top left of the photo, if that's available in the same resolution. Not now, but just before we go anywhere else in a bit.
Guys, what I can show in a minute here, I'm pulling up some other images that were taken that day by the rover, which might offer some more perspective on this.
Shall I stop sharing?
The color really stands out there too, guys. Honestly, once you see it in color, it really makes it stand out even more than just the geometry.
See, that's the thing, is
Kelly.
that only through the color photograph can you see that this is a distinctly different color than the rest of the landscape.
material, I would say a different material than the rocks around.
Yeah,
Right.
you'd have to say material for sure. No weathering, as somebody in our chat pointed out. I mean, it's nothing like everything around it.
We'll come back to the size in a minute, but let's go around the room. I want to hear from everybody is what your initial impressions are of this thing so far.
Let's start with Oleg. Let's hear from Oleg first.
Yeah, I think that especially the colored one shows us that it's something different than all the rocks, because we see here like a huge image. There are plenty of things on this image, and all the rocks that are around it are completely different, in completely different color, completely different probably material, as you've mentioned. It looks like something brittle, the other ones, but this looks like a solid thing. And when the initial image with this grid on was there, it still looked distinctive from the rest, but especially in the color, it looks different. And you've mentioned the weathering, and you see that everything else is like destroyed, eroded, weathered away, but this thing is very, very smooth. So for sure, it's at least a different kind of material, whether artificial or not, maybe some kind of leftover, let's say, rock, megalith or something, we do not know well, but I also think it is somewhere around 20, 30, 40 centimeters, because I think what is around it are just casual rocks. So from my perspective, it looks like something maybe up to half a meter, not like a big thing. So I think it's completely distinctive from the rest, but I don't know whether it looks maybe something when it comes to Earth, something like metal, maybe something like a blue stone similar to the heated one in I think Hatu said there is this blue stone very similar to that, and also they polished it a little bit. So but yeah, it's completely different. It's, you see that, as you've said, it's not eroded as the other things.
Yeah, very interesting. Megan, what do you think?
I think I just want to get in there with a shovel and see how far it goes in. There's no denying that that stands out, especially once you pump the color back into it, like, and just how perfect it is compared to everything surrounding it. Like, this does not belong here, naturally, at least, in my opinion. I'm no geologist, but.
And
I agree.
Someone said it was an out of place artifact for sure in the chat. And I mean, look at it. Sarah, what do you think?
I would agree with the commenter, Ricardo Petrazzi, that you will never convince me that that is natural. One of these things is not like the other. And yeah, that, where did it come from is my only question.
Yeah. Avi Loeb suggested it may have fallen off the rover. NASA needs to answer the question, did it fall off the rover? If it didn't fall off the rover, then they need to go back to this thing and manhandle it, pick it up, turn it over, see what's lying around it. But I don't think this fell off the rover because it's lying sort of against the dune and it's sort of covered in sand towards the back. To me, it's a cylinder, not a cone. I don't know if you agree with me, Brian. This thing's been there a very long time.
Yeah, that's the way I see it, which adds to the mystery even more, is that from one perspective, you could say it looks like a cone that's just been tipped over. But if you zoom in, it really presents, in my opinion, more like something that has been halfway buried on its bottom side towards the back. And it's this let me just add a few things, notes to what John was saying about this upscaling process. To clarify, NASA uses this exact tool that Jean is using to do exactly what Jean is doing. Okay, they use it for their space photography, for they've done it for lunar photos. Okay, if you go to the Wikipedia article for the term deconvolution, which is what this process is, it's a technical, crazy technical term. This deconvolution process has been around since the 70s, so this isn't AI slop, okay? This is a process they've been using since the 70s, and they used it on lunar photographs, and it's really just helping to resolve the clarity of these images. Now, Gigapixel is the latest in a long line of software to do this, and NASA's using it themselves, so there's a lot of skepticism as it relates to this upscaling process because people think we're just inventing imagery and we're just doing AI generation, and that's not what this is. So helping resolve these details, NASA wouldn't be using this tool if it wasn't effective, if they didn't really trust that it wasn't manipulating the images. So if we're getting past that, we're looking at this image. This looks like a buried cylinder. Like, come on,
Yeah.
This is what gets me excited.
Jason?
Yeah, well, look, there's only one way I really know to look at it, having never been on Mars, at least this iteration, is I got to look at it like I'm on Earth, right? And when you zoom out there, John, and, I'm past it being a cylinder, right? And, oh, look at that. See, what I immediately want to start looking for was what happened in this landscape, right? Because my mind has jumped to where Brian just elucidated quite well, is that, come on, folks, look at this thing. It does not fit, right? As Sarah said, it's apples, oranges, right? It's just something different. It doesn't fit together. So I want to scan the horizon. I want to scan the land. I want to start looking at weird shit like that seems to indicate something far more than a little water, and a little wind, and that perhaps even I see several different age layers already exposed, and perhaps I even see some horizontal lines all go in the same direction where there might have been some destruction. You see, my mind wants to immediately now start making a story to explain that thing, because that thing it poses a question that you cannot look at this photo and not need an answer to, and that goes for all of these mini anomalies I'm sure you guys have lined up for us. But I've seen personally, to echo what you said, dude, it's just so many that need a story behind it as soon as you take a look at it.
Thank you, Jason. And I think let me break this down, because the way I see it, this is either a piece of debris from the rover itself, or from the landing mechanism that dropped the rover there, or from a previous mission. It is human debris, or it is an artifact from an ancient Martian civilization. Okay?
Correct.
So, in order for us to accept the possibility that this is an artifact from an ancient Martian civilization, we have to rule out the conventional explanations about what it could be. So, if this is the first you're seeing this, like, your go-to is, oh, it's just a rock. Well, no, we can get past that because it's not rugged like the rest of the landscape, and why would erosion not happen on this one particular thing when it happens everywhere else, right? So why does it not match? So if it's not geology, then maybe it's just something that the rover dropped off.
Someone just said that in the chat as well, and I think that's a good point. Ricardo, what do you think, man?
Okay, so I've been gathering some notes here, and to the point of what Brian just said, is that if this is a piece that fell from one of our satellites from a landing for whatever, I don't see any dragging marks that show enough force for it to stuck itself into the ground as it is. So more too, we can see that the rocks are higher than the ground. And therefore, if there was some kind of accumulation of material, then it would also, there is no sign of it being dragged as something that fell from the sky or was at high speed crashing into the earth. That's my first point.
That's a good point. I hadn't even considered that. That's a good point.
My second point is, I want you to go into the top of the image where we can see that enormous shadow from a very thin slab of stone, that if we consider that one and another one beneath it, this is very thin rock that should be very brittle. Because if this, look at that on, you see how thin that is, and the shadow it casts is not touching the ground.
Yeah.
Right? So that's very weird as a geological formation.
Yeah, there's a lot of that everywhere too.
It's very strange, and by the size of the shadows, it can give us some idea of scale, but I don't know how to calculate that. The other thing that I would say is, if you look at that,
look at that one.
It might be much bigger than we think, because we have no sense of scale. The thing that, if you go to the cylinder again, John, I believe that shadow that we see as the end of the tube, you can put this in even a regular image, even a Windows image, and tell it to take the shadow out. you can reduce the value of the shadow, and I think we can see if that is opaque, or if there is an entrance there, right? It won't be 100% clear, but you can eliminate the shadow from there by the shadow bar, and see if that is an opening or if that is actually a surface, which is unclear. And I'm glad that you zoomed in, because it gives again the idea that it's a small thing and not a big thing by zooming in. But it's definitely it didn't came with the rocks that are around it. Let's put it this way. So
It's not the same, man. It's not the same, man. It's just plain and simple.
Yeah. I'd like to make my comment now. I'm echoing with somebody, but not right now. So when I posted this today, this guy, Dr. David Whitehouse, shout out. He wasn't being a dick or anything, but he said he reposted it and said, it's a rock, it's geology. I'm looking around at all the geology around it, the actual geology, and that doesn't look like geology to me at all. So I said, possibly, but can you show me any examples of similar geology? I'd be interested in seeing it. Watch the show tonight to see if maybe you change your mind. Nothing, right? He can't produce anything, right? And then another guy, what did he say? Let's check it out. Oh yeah, he said if it's Occam's razor, the simplest answer is that it's geology. I think these two are both proving our point by saying that, right? Occam's razor would suggest that that's not geology, okay, number one. And then the guy saying it's a rock, it's geology, when you look at the whole picture, it's obviously not. And I'm with Megan. Like, I'd like to crawl up in there with my hands, or depending how big that thing is, and see how far it goes in, because it could go a lot further than we think. If you look at the top, it kind of at the top of the cylinder, it seems to be I don't know, concaving, like getting smaller, but I think that's just because it's covered up. And I think what we're looking at, erosion actually exposed this object versus created it. Yeah. And it's funny how like Occam's razor could be applied in a couple different ways here, and he applied it one way, and I'm applying it another, because the Occam's razor tells me that's not geology. So that's my take.
Dave, if I can ask you before you wrap up, what if while you're looking at that photo, I just laughed and said, "Ha, kidding you? That's not Mars, man. That's an island here on Earth, where they said nobody had lived before." You're looking at a picture. What then would be Occam's razor, right? Would it?
Well,
yeah.
You have to remember how John Anthony West tried to show people how there was water erosion on the Sphinx enclosure. He actually covered the Sphinx with a paper and just showed the enclosure, and then asked geologists, "So what do you think this is?" And they say, "Oh, that's water erosion, clearly as day." And then he took the paper on top of the Sphinx and said, "Oh, so you can't quote me on this." So in this case, is the same thing. And I would even say that the way it's going, we need to think, okay, it's not natural. Okay, then we try to eliminate if did it fall from the sky, which it doesn't seem to be the case because of an angle that is at, so it had to be scraping the ground in order to then to stuck itself into where it is. Otherwise, people can also say, oh, it was there, but then Earth was pushed into it and became as it is. It can happen. But if it is not natural, my question is, what is it doing there? What is its purpose? What is behind this area? Is there any entrance that we can see? Is there any other place we can see other cylinders like this? Because if it is an underground structure, you won't have only one cylinder for sure, right? So it would have more that probably are hidden in shadows or whatever. But I would look around to see what more can we find and try to get one closer to the solution, which we can't never get to the solution, but we can get closer to it.
I think there's definitely several processes you can see at play, as you mentioned, Ricardo. I think there's some sort of, let's just say energetic event that was sort of perhaps fast or faster than we see also this second sort of slower erosion is at least what I see when I try to look at these pictures and grasp them.
But very strange geology there. The rocks are so thin. Look at to the right. Look how thin. If that is 20 centimeters, look how thin that piece of rock is there. It's almost
Exactly.
like metal.
And it's
like,
supporting weight above it.
Yeah.
And then back to the left, there's one that almost looks like a broken tablet, that's sort of square when all the rest of these things are real round and melted. I mean, it's a very anomalous natural feature to try to look at like something on Earth anyhow.
Because you can see pieces. Sorry, Jason. You can see pieces that are almost the same color of the cylinder, like this one that is like a puzzle piece in the middle of the screen.
Yeah.
Right.
So, Ricardo, I think this is a point I had considered before. You're saying that these thin pieces of this horizontal rock that is cantilevering out over the hillside and producing this shadow.
Yeah.
Reasonably, we could expect the thickness of this rock to be what?
Well, if the cylinder is 20 centimeters,
forget about the cylinder. I'm just saying, like, what would a rock formation, what thickness would a rock formation have to be to support itself cantilevered like that?
I would assume a closer between what we would call, I don't know, in inches is hard for me to say.
A quarter inch?
Yeah, half an inch.
Yes, quarter to half an inch.
Yeah.
That was what I was going to say too. And if you take that into consideration, take the thickness of whatever that is, let's just say it's a quarter inch, times what? Times 30.
I would put it between 15 and 25, maybe. I don't know.
Can we ask? I wanted to ask Oleg when we're thinking about what Ricardo's saying about the thinness of these rocks compared to that item. I hadn't really thought about that either when I was checking out the image. What do you think, Oleg?
Yes, I agree. I was having a little bit of fun in Photoshop. I can show you in a minute, and it looks like it's something like tube, like it has some thickness to it, and probably, or just to some extent, hollow interior. But I'm working on it right now on a few images that you've sent me even before the conversation. But yes, I agree totally that it looks very brittle, as I've mentioned the other rocks, of course. These rocks look, just as Ricardo was saying, that they are very thin. We see similar things on Earth happening, but it looks very eroded. And what was also pointed out very, very interestingly, that you see crazy erosion, but it looks like it sits inside the ground, but you don't see any kind of marks as it was put there. So probably it was before the erosion happened. At least it looks like that. So, and also, can you zoom in it a little bit? The cone, yes. You can see it's very shiny. So it's also a different kind of rock because it's more shiny. And if you even zoom it a little bit more, you see that the curved edge, so the edge, the dark one, you see it's also shining more. So it looks a little bit artificial, or like a smooth rock, but smoothened by humans, but not naturally. So, yeah.
It's natural. It looks very circular too, like extremely circular.
Yes, I'm having it. I'm not like Photoshop Pro or something, but I was having, fun with this different kinds. I will send you a screenshot, Dave. Maybe you can put it, or maybe I can share it.
Jen, can you push the image to the right? No, that's left. To the right. More a little bit. Where to that ledge of that thin rock that has rocks on top of it. You see? There. So
that's weird.
It looks like the sand has been blown from underneath this slab, right? But it doesn't look capable of, because if people think about what you call schist, is schist an English name too for a
schist?
Yeah, schist. It's it's kind of strong, and it could hold that weight with the thickness that I'm seeing there. That would be more or less like this. But if something falls onto it, it will break immediately. It's extremely brittle, right? And
And I
these
think
rocks look like they are getting, the formation is all part of the same rock, which makes it even more weird. So
you can see the brittleness from, like, you can see below that ledge or whatever you want to call it, like the fractures of it below it, right? But let's check out what Oleg wanted to show here real quick. Go ahead for a screen share.
Yes, yes. Wait a minute, I will open it.
okay, while he opens, I just want to say that keep in mind, and Brian knows all about this, erosion in Mars in current times is extremely soft. So if there is great signs of erosion, it had to be happen by the time of the cataclysm of Mars, because beyond that, you can be in the middle of the severest tornado right now on Mars. It's just like a breeze. So what erosion can that produce? Very, very little erosion.
Okay, I'm not an expert in Photoshop, but if you can look, you see it's as if Dave mentioned that it's very circular, but you see, in my opinion, it looks like it has thickness to it, and inside is a little bit at least hollow, maybe not entirely, but it looks like it's very thick here, you know? You see, very regularly thick. So like a thick tube of some sorts, but also what I wanted to show you, I don't know if this, no, not with this image here. If you, oh wait, sorry, this is some thumbnails, but it was, I think, better on Jean's screen sharing, but I think that these rocks I'm pointing here up on this ledge of some sort, this thick layer of rock, you see, it looks for me as it was of a later date, you know, as these kind of rocks were put, you know, all the way, scattered all the way these rocks. You know what I mean? These rocks look like they were of later kind, like they were put on this, like these things were weathered earlier on, and then these rocks, you know, they, or at least we do not have such things here on Earth, or I do not know an example of that, but these rocks look like they were scattered in later times. Like this is the original one, this here.
Now if you put in your thoughts the fact that Mars has that red color because it has a lot of iron. So imagine that this, instead of geology, is more like mineralogy. Would it change your perspective?
Yeah, it's also very interesting that this image are not looking that red, and overall Mars is red, but see, these are also of different kind of color. This is also very interesting. So the same as this, but you know, if we are looking at this, you know, oh, this looks natural, but still, in my opinion, it looks a bit artificial, these rocks.
It looks like it should be falling. Yeah, it looks as though it were blown or scattered.
Yes,
you know, there was some
exactly.
sort of high force or high energy
Cataclysm.
event. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, cataclysm, exactly.
But it's very odd. Yeah,
And then
melted
look at
almost.
this, and it's completely different. As I've said, either a metallic object or maybe some kind of smooth rock object. Like as I've mentioned, there are some blue stones. I remember in the heated region they used such blue stones, but yeah, it's crazy. And I think on this one, you know, as I've said, I'm not an expert at this, but I think it looks like that it has some thickness here, and here it may be hollow. So this is my...
Interesting. Thank you, Oleg.
Yeah,
Let's
you
stop
could be
this.
right, Alex. You could be right. Eh?
Oleg,
It could be like a cylinder, not like a rod or a pillar, column. It could be hollow. You're right.
A pipe, yeah.
That's very weird.
Max in the chat said that it looks like was toppled over, and what I sort of got from it was like Easter Island came to mind, how almost like a big landslide came and toppled over megaliths, and that's
Yeah.
I felt that as well.
Hey guys, this is really cool. Oleg, thank you for that analysis.
Thanks,
In
dude.
the interest of time, here's what I'd like to do next. I want to bring up one more photo that was taken on that same day, just so we can sort of factor this in as we're trying to figure out what size this thing is. And then I want to move on to just a couple of other upscales of different artifacts so we can examine this upscaling process a little bit better. And then we've got a few more artifacts to show you guys, and I definitely want to get everyone's takes on this. So just one more quick share. This, so Jean, correct me if I'm wrong, but NASA will go, they'll drive the rover somewhere, they'll park it, and then they'll just take a series of photographs one day, and then another day they'll move it and take some more photographs. But on one day, the rover's pretty much in the same place, right?
Correct.
Okay, so here we have another image taken on the same day, which sort of gives us some perspective here about where the rover actually was. So we can see some distance, between the rover and the hill here. Mm-hmm. Now maybe it's a little bit more than where this hillside was. Maybe it's a slightly different angle. And perhaps we have to do a little bit of averaging out in our minds here, but I don't think this thing is point blank range on a hillside. I think this thing, to me, I just feel it like this thing is meters away and that cylinder's a little bit larger. So, but I'd love to know what everybody else thinks.
Dude, that one boulder right there in that picture, in that bottom right, that is at minimum, if I'm rover sized, that's at minimum a foot, okay? That's the smallest I could even try to conservatively make this. My experience, if you just woke me up in the ground in the spot of that rover and I looked up, I would be guessing I was looking at something 3 foot plus, man, and it might even be the size of an SUV once I get up on it. You know?
I wanted to shout out my mom quick. She's in the chat. Shout out Debbie from Ontario, Canada.
Hey, Mom.
Love you, Mom.
Wow, Dave's mom is here. No way. Dave's mom is joining us? That's
Dave's
awesome.
She's my number one fan.
Wow.
That's
so even
cool.
make time for Mars. That's great.
Welcome, Dave's mom. That's so sweet.
Yeah, very.
So can I ask, do we have any idea how far away the rover is? I must have missed that from taking this picture, that particular picture.
That's the thing, man. We just don't know. NASA, John and I poke around these tools. Sometimes you can measure it because they have a measuring tool, but they've simply disabled it for this series of images for some reason. Maybe it's just because
Mom.
I don't know. What's a cylinder doing on Mars? That's great.
Exactly.
If you wanted to have the measures, you would need to have the hour the images were taken on and the place where they were taken, and you could do that by calculations of the sun rays, how the angle of the sun is hitting the Mars, but it's much more complicated than doing that here on Earth.
Or having the coordinates, we can just go to Google
and
Mars.
the direction
Google Mars and see
where
how big it is.
the image was taken. It also depends on that.
It would be helpful if NASA was just a little bit more forthcoming with this information instead of leading us to speculate.
They should go back to this thing. They must go back to this thing.
They don't give us access to the coordinates?
To the coordinate.
I can find out exactly where it was when I took that photograph, but the high-rise photographs are taken at resolution of 25 to 50 centimeters per pixel. So that thing will probably be a pixel in a Mars high-rise photograph taken from orbit. So it'll be too small to show up. It was a good idea, Dave.
Okay.
But if it's big, like the rover, then it might show up. I can look into that.
We don't need to exactly see it on the image. We just need the coordinates and know the scale of the place.
That's true.
Because if we can measure the biggest thing there that appears, we can measure everything else.
If there was a stereo pair, you could easily calculate the size. But there wasn't a stereo photograph taken of this object. It's like the mast cam, took one photograph and that was it. Am I right, Brian? I think so.
Oh, yeah, there's no stereo for this, but
No.
But there are coordinates, right? Every single
yeah,
photo I've
we'll
seen
see if
have
we can get.
coordinates. Yeah.
We'll see if we can. John and I will dig into the orbiter photographs just to see what the surrounding landscape might look like. Let's
Yes, easily, yes.
let me just give my final pitch here, and I want to know what you guys think, of course. But I think we debunked. I hate using that word. I'm not going to use it. I think we explained away the possibility that this is something that was part of the landing mechanism. Ricardo, there's no like impact. There's no debris from an impact or anything like that. It's buried. So that's one conventional explanation. It was just part of the landing system. But this is not at the landing site. It's nowhere near the landing site of Curiosity. This is on Sol 3556. Jean, is that 3,556 days?
That's
Okay,
right.
this is
Martian
well
day.
into the rover's journey.
Yeah.
This is not a sample collection tube
No.
because that's Perseverance rover. It's an
Correct.
entirely different mission on an entirely different part of the planet. And oh, by the way, the sample tubes don't look anything like this. I don't think it's part of the rover that fell off because Oleg, depending on whether or not this is a cylinder or a pipe, I have yet to see, I've yet to understand what a function for this thing could be. Okay. And if it was, NASA doesn't send up these rovers with a lot of fat on them. Okay, everything serves a purpose. So if something falls off, it's a big deal. And if NASA didn't come out with a press release, oh no, we can't take these measurements anymore because this critical component fell off, and here's the image of that thing, then I'm not convinced that it's part of the rover. And oh, by the way, it seems to be away from the rover and partially buried. I don't know how something falls. Gravity pulls things down. It doesn't make it go that way and then burrow itself into the hillside. Avi Loeb, in his blog post, he questions whether or not this is, goodness, where'd it go? Could it be a bit of wiring or wheel material from the Curiosity itself? I don't know, man. It looks too thick to be a bit of wiring. And I don't know what it would be, like wheel material. Like we're just reaching for answers, trying to find something that fits. But I don't know, man.
I'd love to get the opinion of some kind of aerospace engineer who's not directly associated with NASA and has to go on their narrative and who's familiar with the engineering of the rover, so that we can just go ahead and rule that out. But I just don't know who that is. But if somebody like that is watching, we'd love to talk to you because I think what we're trying to do here is rule out, things. And, if
it
you're
could
right.
be part of the high precision ballistic missile that NASA sent at the face to blow it up so that the last photo they put out could look like somebody had blown it up. So, that's always a possibility.
Sarah, what do you think? What are you thinking over there?
I wonder about the area and whether or not it's prone to Mars is known for its dust devils. We need to rule that out as how it got buried in the sand. Do you think?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea, to be honest. And I don't know. Does anyone know if that area is prone to dust storms?
Well, I think the whole planet is. In fact, I think when we first sent Viking, Ricardo, you might remember this. When we first sent Viking, Viking mission is Viking 1 and Viking 2. Okay? Each one of them had an orbiter and a lander. And I think they had to delay the landers because there was this global dust storm.
They couldn't
identify a spot, right? It was just dust everywhere. So Mars, the atmosphere of Mars is less than 1% as dense as Earth's. So wind can only blow around dust. This whole scene with Matt Damon and the Martian, and they can't take off with the rocket. The author of that book knew that he was manufacturing drama, because that in reality would not happen. Okay, it's not that strong. So, but it still, yes, over eons of time would accumulate sediment, dust, deposits on top of something. So that makes sense. Dave, if you don't mind, I'd like to pivot to our next. Oh,
Ryan?
John. Yes, John.
Right. I've got photographs of litter. These are objects that have fallen
Okay,
off
sure.
arrivals.
Let's go ahead and let's look at those.
Let me show you what those would look like, for example. Entire screen share. Okay.
Coming
Can you
up.
guys see my screen?
Now we can, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. These were dropped off by the Perseverance rover. I think you're all familiar with that piece of foil.
Yeah. And that goes towards what Brian was saying about how these things are engineered. Is they're not wasting any space. They're not wasting any pounds, right? Like this thing is very thin.
Right. So foil blowing off a few meters, that makes sense.
There's another
We
piece.
make that happen.
That was from the landing, whatever you called it.
That looks like a package.
It's like foil. Can you see it?
Oh, I would say it
It's,
looks like a package
fold
of
up.
astronauts' food.
Yeah,
Oh,
Martian
yes.
Doritos.
Somebody ate their sweets and just tossed the fucking trash on the Martian surface there, right?
Yeah, we do that in every single park in here when they go for a picnic. They leave cans, and they are already doing that on Mars. Okay.
The fucking tourists beat Elon to Mars, man.
Yeah, but we can see here this is irregularly shaped debris. Obviously, yes, that's down on the ground right below. Look at this perspective. We can easily tell this is right below the rover.
Yeah.
There's no sky, there's no hillside or anything like that. So
Someone
sure,
went fishing.
Fishing net. Yep.
Yeah.
right. If it fell off, that's where it would be, right underneath.
So, yeah.
But
Then
John,
the
this is on NASA website.
yes, there's the landing capsule and the parachute. Yeah, these are upscaled images of these.
Oh, so
This
they
is
say
the
that
original-
all of that is from the landing.
Yeah,
All those stuff.
this is from the Perseverance. You can see the chute and the capsule. Or the
Ricardo Petrazzi says humans litter everywhere.
Yes, we do, don't we?
So,
that's
John,
what typical mission litter would look like. Yes,
I
right.
can show you in a sec the last one thing about this cone stuff, because I finally got it that it looks like it has at least a ring. So maybe it's not entirely empty, but I can show you something.
okay.
Sure.
The weathering on those hills in those last NASA photos were insane. The way the ripples were carrying on the dunes in both directions, it's just odd.
Okay,
Very.
you can
Mars is the
see
mysterious
it now.
part.
Look at that.
Yes.
Oh, don't worry about the colors or something, but I think that this looks like something around this the circle, and that the interior is a different one. And when you do that, you see that it's distinguishable from the. Here you can see the,
Yeah.
and here you can see how it's circular. So
So
it
you
looks
think
like
there's a chance this is a tube.
yeah, that it's empty, because you see almost equal size thickness. It's not everywhere because it's low quality, unfortunately, but
Right.
I think that it looks like, being artificial to some extent.
We have to consider the possibility. Thank you, Oleg. Jean,
Thank you.
what I'd like to pivot to now is I want to show an example of something that Jean and I upscaled that convinced us that the anomaly in question was more of a natural feature. Jean, can you bring up the gear artifact?
Sure. The gear. Right. Can you guys see my screen?
Oh,
Hang on, it's coming. Okay, so Jean, show us where this is.
Okay, the anomaly is there.
See this thing right in the center that looks like a gear?
Can you zoom on that bad boy?
Yep.
This was something I featured in the film, and then I met Jean after I made the film. I wish I would have met him before, but so it just looks funky relative to the rest of the landscape there, and so I had him upscale this.
Okay, this is using, let's see, Topaz Labs is selecting low-res V2 to upscale this, and the default settings produce that strange shape.
Okay, so what does it look like? Yeah, so show us the original. Okay, so that's the original just zoomed in. It kind of looks like a gear, but then we upscale it, and after we upscaled it, both John and I felt like this wasn't enough.
Yeah.
This wasn't compelling enough to really pursue the artificiality concept. So
Okay,
I wanted to provide this as an example of something how we want to be transparent with the process and how we don't just assume everything is artificial upon enhancing the images. Sometimes we'll enhance something and say, you know what, it doesn't look like as much as we thought it did.
I'm going to try and upscale it using the latest upscaling model. Let's see.
Even in the ones that don't work, gentlemen, I still see about 3 or 4 rocks that if I were on Earth, I'd want to take a closer look at, because geologically, there's just something weird that happened to this environment, y'all.
That literally does look like a gear, some kind of badass shield or something when it from way back out. But then when you zoom in, it's like, okay, probably not.
No.
Right.
Pareidolia shows me a skull, but with a high sagittal crest. But, no.
Oh, look, Rue says that's the clutch housing from the back end of an
That was made by the hunter-gatherers on Mars after the cataclysm that came back through, Ricardo. They etched it into
We
that
now know who ate the snack and threw it to the wind.
It's a native lunar calendar. They marked the sun.
I appreciate Brian showing that example because we want to be transparent here in the smart disclosure movement that we're not just finding shit out of nothing. You guys are literally like trying to rule stuff out. And that's how we come to this cylinder and go, what the fuck is that?
Yes. So Gigapixel is a very useful tool at confirming the potential artificiality of something and also to rule it out. So it's a two-edged sword.
Okay.
So
Jean,
you want me to do the next one?
Yes. Bring up the wheels, the wide shot. Sorry, I spoiled it. Okay, guys. Now, before I'm just going to ask real quick. We'll take 10 seconds. Does anybody see anything weird in this photograph? See, I want to demonstrate exactly the value with the independent researcher, the Mars independent researcher community. They're taking a look at images like this. Hang on, zoom out, Jean. Let's just give everybody a chance just to look at this.
Yeah, that's not where I saw something weird. What are you doing?
No, I saw it on the right.
Hang on. Listen, you gotta give credit. Okay, we all have to be very appreciative of the people who spend their time sifting through images like this. Now, at a glance, this just looks like a bunch of rocks. Okay, but then you zoom in on this stuff, and then you might start finding interesting things. And Jean, I think that the thing we're going to take a look at here was found by Thomas Mikey Jensen. Is that correct?
Correct, yeah.
Okay, Thomas Mikey Jensen. We zoom in, conventional magnification. Guys, you starting to see it. Zoom in a little bit more, Jean. Okay. Put your mouse right on it.
Looks like the wheels on a Hot Wheels car.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go. All right, let's see.
It sure does. Skateboard.
It does. That's weird.
We're
this
seeing
the gym of
circles.
Flintstones?
Now it's the bucket off Fred Flintstone's tractor.
This thing is so small that to get detail from this thing took me a day and a half of fiddling until I got the upscaler to actually upscale it to the image I published.
I
Because
sent
you
this
can
to
see an
John, and
inner
I
ring.
kept pushing him. I kept pushing, like, no, do it. You got to 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 do it.
You can see a wheel and then an inner ring inside that wheel.
Yeah. Show us the regular conventional magnification from this zoom, John. Okay. From here, you can see there's a circular shape, and then inside the first circle, there's another circular shape.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
A roll
Okay.
bearing. It looks like a why you call it in English? I don't know the name in English. When you
Right.
have a metal sphere, the sphere, the ball, the sphere
Wheelbarrow.
balls, wheelbarrow. That's what it looks like to me.
If
Right.
you look directly above it when it's upscaled, there's another circular object, like circular hole here. Do you guys see that as well?
Yeah, on the
Yes.
other
Yeah.
side. Yeah.
The upscale unfortunately produces some anomalies itself, and it makes that second wheel, Dave, appear as though it's part of the rock in the background. Okay. When you just simply zoom in on this without the upscaling, it looks like a pair of wheels on an axle.
Or a cylinder sleeve, even, that something would go through. Yeah, no doubt.
Right.
I'm going to try.
I'm trying to contain myself, but I want to know what it's that on the right. There's something weird on the right.
We'll check now. Sorry, Ricardo, it will finish now.
Ricardo, you need to fly to South Africa next and visit Jean when you're done with James in Wisconsin.
No,
and
thank you.
document this. No.
Really?
Are you
Are
looking
you
at
talking
that?
about-
That jagged piece, I saw it too.
Yeah.
But I'm talking more to the right, completely across the image on the other right side. It stands out. Yeah, you start to catch it on the first square, top first right square. Yeah, that's what is in the top right square. And I want to know what that is, because it looks very much like the rover.
I'm really enjoying seeing how
Looks like a
John
box.
does this.
Right.
You guys are welcome, man. That.
Oh, okay. See,
Big
false
hunk of
alarm.
rock.
False alarm.
Well,
So-
not hardly, though. Look at that weird spiky thing next to it, man. I mean, again, we may not be seeing spaceships, but if I'm trying to view it like something on Earth, I'm seeing some weird shit that needs some explanations beyond, oh, it just got dragged there by itself.
Jean, go back to the wheels.
Sure.
Go
I'm
back
sorry for
over.
the detour.
No, it's
I am
okay.
s-
It's okay.
I am
And-
seeing some shades of the color of the actual cylinder on the landscape occasionally.
That blue color, yeah.
Yes.
So from here, just cancel this, John. Cancel. Okay, this is not upscaled. Okay, this is just zoomed in. Go back out. Go back out just a little bit. Zoom out just a little bit. Right, one more. Okay, so from here we can even see the circular shape. Now, this is such a low resolution photo, but circles. I've been on this earth almost 45 years. I haven't seen circle rocks, perfect circle rocks.
There's not a lot of them.
So I'm just saying, I'm not a geologist, but I have enough common sense to know when something looks out of place. And you guys know about the importance of fractals, right? Nature is inherently fractal by nature. Right? You get what I'm saying. It's inherently fractal. So when we see something that does not exhibit fractal qualities, it stands out to our eye just at a glance. And Jean had to do a lot of work. As you can see right now, he's kind of fine-tuning the processing because the computer software has to try to derive information here. And that's all we're trying to do is enhance what's there. And this is one of the examples. I wanted to show you this because this was a harder example to upscale. But in my opinion, and I'd love to know what everybody else thinks, that there was enough in the lower resolution image, even just zoomed in, to warrant further investigation. So
Let's go around the room, Jason.
When you get to the highest resolution on this image, guys, what I see, the quickest that I can put it is pieces. It looks like I'm seeing a lot of pieces of something. So again, I'm going to go back to something forceful happened here, and perhaps these various things that when you zoom in on them, each exhibit something odd or non-natural. Maybe if you pieced those together, you would have something greater than, a whole greater than its parts here. That's what I see. Pieces.
I appreciate the perhapses and maybes and possiblies, because that's all we're doing here. And let's go, Oleg. What do you think about this one?
Yeah, it's very, very circular. I was initially thinking that these are like two parallel, something like wheels, but when I upscale it myself, it looks like one of the circles that is looking like wheel is like off to the side, so they are not perfectly aligned together to this two of these circular structures, so they are not aligned. But yes, it looks circular, but I haven't seen myself to any kind of rock that looks similar to that. But actually, if we are looking at these pieces, maybe this one, like the whole image, looks similar to Earth. But the previous one, when it came to these rocks scattered, it looked like nothing on Earth, or at least I haven't seen anything like that. So maybe on Mars things are also different. We also maybe are thinking too much from our Earth perspective. Maybe
That's a good
but yeah,
point.
circles in nature in such cases. So
Yeah, Megan, what do you think?
I'm thinking that I want to take these shots and go talk to Professor Danny Hillman and see what he has to say, because I'm not a geologist, but that doesn't look natural to me. I wonder with the timing in Indonesia if we could line it up to get him on one time. But either way, maybe we could bring these images to our next talk with him.
I think that's a
Be
great
great.
idea. We should try to get Danny Hillman, the geologist, to talk about some of this stuff. I wanted to highlight Oleg's point, though, Alexander's point, that we have to make sure that we're considering that we're looking at this from an Earth geology perspective and not a Mars geology perspective. Ricardo?
Well, this is one that it's harder to comment than the previous one, but the point that I would make is, if I was at any level capable of making decisions after getting reports from the team that is getting these images, right, I would say we should have a closer look at that, because at the minimum, right, we should try and find out what that is, because we might find that again and again, and then we know what it is because you already look into it, right? In this case, it might be natural. It might be the rock just fractured, and as it breaks, it cause that surface. Although it seems to have a ring inside the ring, which makes it weird, right?
Right.
Right, but in the
That
very
cinder
in the
block
very-
behind it there, that's a little.
in the very minimum, it would require, we have to look at this again. It's not like they don't have a goddamn robot on the place. They can go and get a closer look, and they keep saying, look, we find this, it looks like I'm getting out of topic, but it's just to give an example. This to me is just like West Kennet Long Barrel. Okay, they put an academic team there exploring the archaeacoustics, and they managed to open a portal. It's recorded in the academic paper, and all they do is, next place, where's the next funding? Let's go to the next place. It doesn't matter how fantastic it is. They just don't care. They just want to keep collecting data and moving to different places. So
Well, it's certainly not incentivized either way.
no.
So, guys, I just wanted to show you these examples. I wanted to sort of demonstrate the process of the upscaling that Jean does and how it may work or may not work. These are not necessarily the best examples of artifacts that we have. And if you don't mind, what we can do now is pivot to just a brief slideshow of other artifacts. And what I'd like to do is to just share my screen, and Dave, Jean, Ricardo, and Jason. I think you guys have seen some of these, so I'd like to give an opportunity for Sarah, Megan, and Oleg to just view these things and give us their initial impressions as we go through them. Is that cool with everybody?
No, I'm just go away. That's fine. You don't want to hear.
Yeah, I did not want to talk to the beautiful ladies. That was not in my plan here today at all. Thanks, man.
I did want to hear from Sarah about the wheels first.
Sure.
What did you think?
Of course.
Yeah, I mean, instant reaction is that's a set of wheels off of a Hot Wheels car, or like a weight like you would work out with.
A dumbbell,
But,
right?
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, but the circle behind, even if it's not part of what we're looking at, that's the only circle when you zoom out. That's the only circle in that frame. So there again, we have another case of one of these things that's not like the other. I think it's worth a second look at least. If nothing more, if it's some of our debris or something that we dropped there during a previous mission, I would think that it would be beneficial to note the way things age on a different planet and things like that. It would still have value as far as data goes.
Yeah, I totally agree, Sarah. And the front wheel, you can see you can see it's circular. The shadow is circular, and it's almost perfect. It gets a little distorted to the left of the image, but that's likely due to the rocks and geology around it. I'm also noting like almost similar color to the tube, but not quite. It's weird, I'll give it that. But I really like what we're doing here is like we showed one that like we ruled out, then we got to one that's like, I don't know, maybe. And now Brian's about to show some ones that are like, huh. So let's do that.
Cool, man. Thanks. All right, let me share my screen. Okay, sharing screen 3. Let's see. Allow. Okay. I am so fascinated. I am so in awe, let me just put it that way, of the work. Again, I'm going to keep hammering this point home because, look, I don't spend my free time sifting through hundreds of images that look like this, just to I may or may not find something. All right. Which is why we got to give credit to these guys. Okay, look. All right. So what we're going to be looking at right now, I think, the person who found this was a gentleman by the name of Rolf Varga. I have no idea who he is. I never met him. The only reason why I know that name, I think, is because of my producer on the film, Michael Craig, who was studying this for a while. I just want to put out the name there. Rolf, if you ever find this, please contact me. But before I say anything more, okay, Sarah, Megan, Oleg, are there any objects in this picture that stand out to your eye?
I swear I'm looking at a snow crab leg. I know how it sounds, y'all. Is that a snow crab leg? Do y'all see that?
Yeah, we
It's like
see it.
Right center and just to the right.
I
Right.
see exactly what you're talking. That's the first one my eye went to.
Okay.
Yeah. That's a crab claw.
Megan?
I just wish I could blow it up bigger, but I also definitely see the crab. Like, also maybe like something that looked like it could be an arrowhead or like a dead fish in the bottom right.
Oh yeah, that's a weird one too.
Figured out how we're gonna turn Sarah into an archaeologist. We're gonna starve you for a day or so, and then you're gonna come out in the field with me.
I am pretty hungry.
So, guys,
Let's get Oleg.
Yeah, from zooming in now, I see when you've mentioned this crab, but just looking at it like it is, I don't see much on this image, unfortunately. But right now, I see, of course, this crab hand.
Yeah. So let's what we're going to be doing is taking a look at these two particular objects right here. they stand out even at a distance, even on a black and white image, even on a low resolution black and white image showing a debris field of just a bunch of rocks. These two particular things just stand out. And what we're going to do here is we're going to zoom in, and I'm going to immediately show you the conventional magnification as well as Jean Ward's upscaling so you can compare the two. Okay?
What the?
Is there a way to display the stream here so we can see a wider view?
Yeah, I think I can just go like this. Boom.
There we go. Okay, just for a moment here. Okay?
Wow.
It's important to see the before and after so that you can compare the images for yourself and to understand that the upscaling truly is, in my opinion, is not mischaracterizing what the original photograph presents. Now, what the original photograph presents looks like a couple of really odd rocks that just don't look like anything in the surrounding landscape, nor do they look like any rocks I've ever seen. But I want to throw it out to the room and tell me what you guys think.
It
It's
looks
an
like
eel.
I'm almost getting like a tool of sorts with the
Yeah.
craft arm and like pottery or something maybe next to it.
Yeah, the stuff around it looks like it has holes in it, like a pumice stone or something, but way bigger.
Yeah.
For me, it doesn't look like anything specifically artificial, but these holes, and again, you can see the right angle on the crab hand or something that looks like that. You see exactly, or at least it looks like exactly right 90-degree angle, so seems to be unnatural. And also, when you see this crab handle connecting to this bigger rock, I haven't seen in my life rocks like that there is this like bigger piece connecting with some sort of a crab handle at a right angle. So something strange, but nothing specifically coming to my mind.
I don't know if anyone's a Stargate fan, but that image
Yeah.
reminds Ricardo of a Goa'uld from the Stargate. It actually
Yeah.
does.
It does.
Once you see it as either morphing onto that stone or the eel head is what I'm talking about. Once you see it as connected to that larger piece of stone, it becomes something entirely different. You know, it's very hard to see that as natural, whatever it is.
Well, I would say that this looks very much like marine erosion. So if it is marine erosion, because of the holes that I'm seeing in the rocks around it, which is done by molecules and tabernacles or whatever they are called that actually do burrow through the rock to create these kind of holes that we are seeing here, except for that airplane wing shape from profile that the rock to the right has. All of the rest looks like very like marine erosion. So if we have something that looks like a fish in a place that has highly marine erosion, the problem is how is the fish survived for how many thousands to hundreds of thousands of years that Mars had water, unless we are completely mistaken and it wasn't that far long ago, right? Because this could be a fossil in Mars because of the conditions, extremely dry, would last longer on the surface that would last on Earth, much longer. But still, it couldn't be that old. So the cataclysm of this area, or which means when the water was taken away, couldn't be 100,000 years. I think it has to be much less than that. But the point that I would make here is that black dot that confuses us like an eye if you're looking as a fish, is it an artifact of the image, or is that black dot actually a hole in that rock?
I don't have the impression that it's an image artifact.
Because if we take that dot out, then it becomes some kind of a tool, right? And I would say that it might be or not connected with what we seem to be
Right.
like a fin behind it.
And that's the thing. People characterize this either as an eel or a wrench. Okay.
Yeah.
It's just the closest thing we have at describing the shape of this thing. Not to say that it is an eel or a wrench or marine animal, but like our eyes see what our eyes see. And
And sorry, I just want to say that because Ricardo Petrazzi just said, yes, fossilized what is life. I would say that this looks exactly as a shoreline area. Okay. Like a place that is either suffering from tides or has shallow water in it and now it doesn't have it. That's what I would see. If this was on Earth without that weird creature in there or whatever it is, I would say this is a marine shallow area or a coastal area that is hit by water constantly, by tides, by
Yeah.
waves. But
And this circular depression here, this looks like, I think somebody said it, like it looks like a vase like tipped over, and we have a circular sort of opening to it. Jean, correct me if I'm wrong again, because you know this stuff better than I do, but NASA will move the rover one day, take some images, and then they'll just simply move it the next day. They don't really linger around too long. Is that correct?
No, not too long. No, but for this specific one, they did. And
Yes.
Jeff actually pointed that out. Brian, before, just to interject here, if I may,
Yeah.
the rover Curiosity has recently photographed these boxed-in areas. And NASA's actually commented about those as well. And if you look at the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter high-rise photograph, those look like fish farms or salt paddies, or what do you call them? Rice paddies, or
Right.
salt farming. Now, that could be a fish fossil. Remember, just before that, I did the one with the fish bone, with those long spikes.
Yeah.
Remember, I featured that one too,
Yeah, I do.
and it was very close to those boxed-in
Right.
areas.
Right. That's true. That's true.
Yeah, maybe they were fish farming. Who knows?
We'll have to present those on a different day.
Can I comment on this one a bit?
Yes, go for it. Dave.
So I see a right angle, but I'm kind of with Oleg here. This one doesn't do it for me that much. I think pareidolia when I see this one.
So
And
yeah,
I think Ricardo said, if we were on Earth, then this looked like this. And I just want to point out that we're not on Earth here. So I see the right angle. I see the weird eel thing, but I don't feel that it's a petrified fish or something.
Sure, and I hear you on that. And what I'd like to add to this conversation is the following. NASA, for some reason, spent over 12 days at this spot with multiple images of this debris field. That is an anomaly. NASA doesn't usually spend almost 2 weeks taking multiple images at different wavelengths, trying to figure out what the heck is. They do this to try to figure out what the material is made out of. Now, why would they have done this? That in and of itself is strange, and we know this because of my buddy. If we could get a wide shot here, so we get my buddy Jeff here. Because of my friend Jeff Cruikshank down in Australia. Mars Disclosure is global, folks. We've got people all over the planet looking at this stuff. Now, Jeff did the hard work at looking at the analyst notebook and happening to notice that multiple photographs were taken over almost a 2-week period. He got in touch with the mission's lead scientists of the Curiosity rover and asked them, why did it do this? And they didn't really give him a straight answer, but they were able to lead him, and they were able to provide some information, some context about what he was seeing. But he uncovered this, the fact that the rover parked for almost 2 weeks and took multiple photographs. That is not something the rover normally does.
That's completely abnormal. That's because the rover only stops to take the pictures and continues to move. It's in continuous movement.
Dave, I'd leave you by the campfire and go dig on that one, man. I'm going to disagree with you. That's got something.
I'm not saying it's not weird, and I totally understand why NASA would take a bunch of pictures of it and spend some time there. But I wonder what conclusions they drew from it. Is all. Thank you for framing that. I didn't know they took a bunch of pictures of it, but like, I don't think that every single weird anomaly on Mars that NASA takes a bunch of pictures of just because it looks weird, it necessarily means that it's like
Right.
an anomalous feature.
Sure.
And I'm not saying that it's not an anomalous feature. I'm just looking at it and going,
Doesn't work for you. Right.
I'm in between.
Sure.
I'm just saying that it wouldn't be unusual to find a marine fossil in an area that looks like it has been a marine area.
Who
That's
knows
all I'm
what?
saying.
Yeah, who knows what the heck this stuff is? All right, next one.
And I just like an excuse to dig rocks. So I'm always leaning that way.
I would definitely take a closer look at that if I was in a spacesuit on Mars for sure.
Megan, Sarah, Oleg, what do you see?
A terrible place to make a farm.
Something like a vase on the middle right side.
It's hard to see a whole lot when it's this small.
Like ancient vase.
If you do this long enough, your eyes immediately zoom in on the artifact.
Yeah, it looks like like the middle
Your
of
eyes your eyes get trained when you do this for 9 years. It's so easy. It's on the right.
right.
Hint, hint.
Right. So we are looking at that thing right
There
there.
we go.
Okay. And we're going to be looking at the conventional magnification versus the upscale, thanks to Jean Ward.
Pleasure, pleasure, pleasure.
I just want to, like, there's nothing else like it in the landscape. And if we take a closer look at this thing, Megan, what do you see when you look at this?
Like I'm getting Star Wars ship of some sort with like a cannon off the front, but also could be natural. Like it's hard to tell from this. That's a tricky one.
I think Sarah took a break, but she'll be back.
Yeah, for me it looks like, initially it looked like, again, a vase of some sort, a bowl, as if it was rounded like in 3 dimensions. But right now when I'm looking at it at this angle, maybe it's just my brain creating this, and maybe it's just, one side of an eroded rock. Maybe it's not circular to that extent, because initially it looks like a circular bowl or something being a little bit at the angle, but we don't have like 3D of it or any kind of other angle, so it's hard to tell.
Right. So consider that Mars is called the Jinx planet because so many missions failed. They have no idea what happened to them, right? So if you place a piece of one of those ships that went there, right, burning a little bit through the atmosphere, which really doesn't happen in Mars, but coming down and crushing down, this could be actually a piece of one of those lost spaceships, which are many, right? They now they are managing to do it successfully, but somehow Mars, the mission would go wonderfully until they get there, and when they get there, we lost connection, the ship disappeared. That happened again and again. So this could be one of those pieces, because it clearly appears to be some mechanical stuff, some part of engineering of some object. It doesn't seem to be a rock to me at all.
For me, it seems to be made out of rock, because on the previous image, it was similar to other kind of rocks. There were such darker rocks.
You have to consider that everything is blown with sand on Mars, very thin sand that makes everything look the same. So the color might be misleading in that respect.
Let me jump in here real quick. This particular object was reverse engineered by a gentleman by the name of Tim Saunders, who's a yacht designer, and he's very mechanically inclined. He has to, he does designs on the computer, but he has to know that how parts fit together. And in the film, we show a sequence of his interview, and we show a sequence of him reverse engineering this thing. And he does this overlay. You can kind of see it here. We actually do have multiple images of this. I'm simplifying this for the discussion today. We have multiple images of this taken from slightly different angles, which show a consistency in the cylindrical shape. And what he was able to reverse engineer, essentially, just it looks like his 3D engineering here demonstrates that it's a cylindrical object with this sort of tube on the front of it, and oh goodness. What the hell?
You're right there.
Yeah, I just got some weird virus thing that popped on my computer. Norton. Anyway,
It's the CIA trying to shut us down.
They found you.
God, it might be. What I wanted to talk about.
Just go ahead and make friends with your handler, okay? It's easier.
Yeah.
Yes.
What we were talking about.
John, speaking from experience over there.
Yeah, I've got a handler too. He wears a black suit and a black tie.
There is. We have to factor in one additional detail here. The atmosphere of Mars is mostly carbon dioxide. Okay.
Yeah.
And
Corrosion.
carbon dioxide,
Corrosion.
when metal is exposed to heavy amounts of carbon dioxide, it degrades things and makes it gives it this rusty, corrosive look. And I'll be darned if that doesn't look like the rest of the surface of Mars. So even the corrosive effects on metal on Mars will make it look like just the rest of the rocky landscape, making metal look like rock.
Agreed.
So
Yeah, concurred.
anyway, just something to consider. Okay, next one. Did we do this? We did this one. We did this one. Did this one. Did this one. Oh yeah. Find more of John Ward's work at megalithicmars.com.
Thank
John
you.
does some great stuff.
Thanks, guys.
Oh, and just to wrap up, a few more things to wrap up here. This shows the dedication that Jean has here. Okay, when he looks at high resolution orbiter photographs, you can see how big this is. 12,000 by 25,000 pixels. Okay, to download the file is 200 megabytes. It'll take you some time to download this stuff. Okay, John will take up to 4 hours looking at stuff and find something strange, and here in the images where he found it, and here this just looks like noise, like the TV static from the old analog TVs. But if you zoom in on something into this little spot, we come across this image. Now, again, this is not so clear cut. What we're looking for are things that just don't match the rest of the landscape. I try to make this easy, put things in the center so you can probably already see it. Okay. And what we're going to be looking at today, this was in fact discovered by Jean and featured on the Jesse Michaels podcast by remote viewer Joe McMonagle, if you guys study remote viewing. But Joe McMonagle found this compelling enough to be featured to feature it on the Jesse Michaels podcast. And you guys, I'll just put it out to the room. Do you guys see anything anomalous here that just sticks out?
Is that a bullet?
Well, Dave's on mute, and I know what I'm looking at,
Well,
so
in
I
his
will
image-
refrain.
Everything is huge because the image is enormous. So
Right.
Oh, a
I
missile
need
then.
to train my eyes up for this game.
Sarah, are you looking at that thing right there in the center?
Yeah, it looks like a missile.
That thing right there?
Depending on the scale, yeah.
Yeah.
Or,
So if
or
we-
a giant phallic.
Right.
Yeah, I didn't want to say that.
Now, before we zoom into
How
this,
did you make a limp statue? What is that about? That's not shamanic at all. What does that message mean?
before we zoom into this, who wants to take a guess how big this thing is?
A few meters probably.
Real big.
much bigger.
Much bigger.
It's
It just looks small. It must be cold there.
Ricardo said there was a lot of water in the area, so that probably had
That
something
could
to
be a
do
boat.
with the shrinkage. Don't judge. It was wet.
Maybe it's a boat.
It's a grower, not a shower.
There is
I don't
water
know what
there.
to tell you.
I'm still in the
So-
same podcast.
That-
I must come into another one by accident.
I think that was my fault. I'm the one who did that.
Ricardo, we're over 2 hours at this point, brother. It's wherever it fucking goes, man.
All bets are up.
So, guys, the thing we're looking at right here is 65 feet long.
Oh,
wow.
moly.
You were right about water. It looks like a boat.
Whoa.
So if we
Is that a
can,
number on the side of it?
if we can adjust
Okay.
it
Oh
there,
yeah, I got you. I got
Megan,
you.
or, yeah, Dave.
How's
See
that?
that. So what we see on the left is conventional magnification at a few different scales here, okay, and then an upscaled version here. I don't know. Just the thing to keep in mind is sometimes we can sort of characterize what it looks like. Other times we really can't. I think the one thing that we can say with confidence is that just the things we're focused on just simply don't match the rest of the landscape. And when you get something like this and you see it just even blurry, what rock would have this shape with the I don't know what this is, if this is a hole in the center with this obviously rectangular portion on the back. So it's just stuff like this that catches our eye. And it was compelling enough that it caught, this is Joe McMoneagle featuring it on the Jesse Michaels podcast. And this is John Ward's upscale right here. So, credit goes to John Ward for making news here. And, oh, by the way, just to be in the interest of transparency, John Ward will frequently update his software and run it through different upscaling processes. And it might produce a slightly different version of it. See, we have sort of a grid pattern here, and over here we don't. But it doesn't change it too much, but it's still just an odd thing to look at.
No, this was done after the upscaling model was updated. So
Right.
obviously the machine learning updated itself and it adjusted the upscaling parameters, and that's what you get to the right when you use it now. So obviously it learns and it improves. So that there to the bottom left could be a little bit of an artifact.
But couldn't we see that on the just magnification? Couldn't we see some kind of
You
grid?
can see black dots, but you can't make out a grid per se.
Yeah, the black dots is what I meant. So you can see that disappeared on version 2
Yes.
because it's trying to homogenize the image somehow and correct what it thinks are artifacts. Like
Correct. But the remaining image, the outline, geometry, highlight, shadows, still correspond. It's just that sort of grid-like part has been addressed.
okay, so shall we launch a public fundraiser for us to build a ship and go there and see what's there? Actually, I volunteer Sarah and Jason. They'll both go.
You didn't have to volunteer me, man. I mean, all I can do is look at that stuff and just want to go check it out. It scratches the itch that I get to scratch here on Earth, which is, funny enough, just like this, going and seeing these strange big rocks. And, I'm used to walking through the forest and looking at the rocks and going, okay, that's probably not natural. I should head that way in closer investigation. So looking at these things, whether we see whichever version I'm looking at, whether it's technological or still anomalous features in stone, it personally triggers me and it excites me a great deal. I would be going to check these things out, no doubt about it.
I would go too if there was a return trip.
Yeah, right.
Oh,
Well,
yeah, but
I
it's
always say
one
we're
that-
going back to Mars. You know, Elon's just going back to Mars. He's not going there for the first time, man. I mean,
I think
you
so.
know,
Yeah,
what,
there's a there's a
well, when I look
secret
at all this, I
program.
gotta think human. You know, it's just that's all I can. That's the closest thing to what I can verify is that humans were around that a long, long time. So if I'm looking at something ancient, you know, that's just my mind's going to say we were there. So something brought us here. Now we're going to go back and check it out, just like we're doing here on Earth.
Well, we talk about a lot about conspiracy theories and so on, but the fact is, Alternative Three actually has a report written. Actually was requested by the government, and one of the solutions to run away from a possible war with Russia and preserve our best minds and so on was not only to create bunkers, but actually to send lots of people to Mars. So have they done it? Because in fact, those people disappeared. If you go to the records of that time and to the documentary that followed this, that actually was banned to be published in television in 89 or 88, I can't remember the date. It's also called Alternative 3. They are exposing all this, and the families, by the time of the documentary being made, still didn't know what happened to their brilliant sons that were top scientists that coming out of the universities and so on. They all disappeared in the same day. So where did they go? And the project speaks of creating underground structures on Mars using natural caves and so on, and using those structures to keep a permanent population on Mars to, in case the Earth cease to exist because of a nuclear war that might be coming into the future.
Well, that's the
Brian,
long-term goal, but recently the story shifted to a base on the moon now. You know, Elon has pulled back from Mars, and everybody says we're going to the moon or back to the moon, wherever you are on the belief
Because
scale with that.
They called it from Mars. They say, "But we are fooled here, Ellen. We can't take any more people here. You have to go to the moon for now."
Since you guys were getting close to the moon, we relocated the Anunnaki base. It is now back on Mars, so you guys stay over there.
Guys, to me, this looks like a craft of some sort for whatever reason. And I Googled human crafts that are 65 feet long, and there's a bunch of different stuff. Luxury motor yachts are typically around 65 feet. There's a Coast Guard called a cutter thing that's 65 feet. In aviation, a plane called a Regent Sea Glider has a 65-foot wingspan. So it seems to be like a common length for crafts. Just saying.
Just saying.
It's like a stealth craft. It looks stealthy. It doesn't have sharp edges.
Ricardo keeps requesting, is it possible to flip the image upside down? I think he seems really confident that we're going to see something differently if we flip it around.
It's going to look like a middle finger. I see what you're doing, bro.
Okay.
It's not this Ricardo. It's the Ricardo in chat.
In the chat.
Sorry.
Brian, while you do that, I've got a quick article to read. Former Israeli space security chief says extraterrestrials exist and Trump knows about it. I don't know if you know about this article. The guy is Haim Ashed. This story went viral last year. And in the article, it says that there's underground bases on Mars and that the US government has been working with aliens in those underground bases doing experiments.
That's Alternative 3. If it is real or not, who knows?
Yeah.
That's Alternative 3. And it's from the
That's,
70s. It's from the 70s.
Well, it supposedly started, though, in like the 40s or 50s, right? And
The
our governments
protocol,
met with
yeah.
them.
The
I know-
protocol.
I think the
noticed
aliens
Mar-
were setting the bastards up. You know what I'm saying? They gave them all this technology that they could have either gave to the people or kept to themselves, and now they kept to themselves. And now that we're exposing everybody, they went to Epstein Island. The aliens are sitting back going, now we'll see what they do. We gave them all this shit, and they hid it from you. You know, I don't know.
Yeah, bro.
Well, when it comes to,
Oh, yeah.
I know we're talking Mars Disclosure Live here, but you know, all you got to do is go to Earth, and there's literally giant places on Earth like Antarctica that you're not allowed to go, with like huge caves and life that we don't know anything about.
Yes.
A shitload of water, and we're not even allowed to go there. I mean, there could be, you know, an extraterrestrial species or a terrestrial species
Terrestrial,
advanced
right.
that we don't know about that literally lives there. I don't rule that out.
How many times had we go underground to survive natural cataclysms, right?
Oh, yes. H.G. Wells, War of the Worlds.
And sometimes people decided, well, we are making good in here. We don't need to go back to the surface anymore, or we lost the adaptation. We don't like the light anymore. After how many
Yeah.
generations?
Or the ant people there in,
The Hopi, right?
what's that huge canyon there in the States? The ant people.
It's the Grand Canyon.
Yeah, yeah. There's areas in of the Grand Canyon that you can't go and explore.
Yeah.
Most
They're
of
off
it.
limits.
Most of it, yeah.
And they speculate the ant people live there, underground.
Well, I do think that.
Go on,
Sorry,
go on.
I
Go
do
on.
think that if there's another species living on this planet that's advanced, it's not going to be human. It might be like Ricardo was saying, some version of human that evolved to that environment. But it's totally possible, and it's totally possible that like higher up intelligence knows about it.
Yeah, Dave,
Oh, yeah.
to your point, imagine that if you are living underground, right? In here, we are distracted by so many things, and the pursuit of technology, technological innovations, and social bettering is not necessarily a requisite because we have infinite amounts of space to spread. But if you are living underground, you have to cultivate all this very strictly. So advanced technological advance would be a priority, social advance will be a priority, and so on and so forth in order for that community to survive. So they would be much more advanced than we are in the same amount of time,
Yes.
right? And we have been interrupted because we only started like the last 200 years to do something with technology. Until then, apparently no one cared about it. The wheel and the chariot was serving just fine. So, because if you think about it, steam power has been known since before the Greek times, and we only decided to make a locomotive in the last 200 years. So
We were
imagine
too
what-
busy chasing money, man. That's all, because every technological advance gets stunted in growth so we can maximize earning capacity from it. That's just what happens. Now, if I was a civilization, no matter where I was, on Mars or in the center of the Earth, and I didn't have those confines, I wasn't driven by financial constraints as my motivation, then fuck knows what I'd come up with. They might be the people in the sky that are lights. They're not extraterrestrial. They're a breakaway civilization that said we're done with the games and the resets, you know?
So I'm wondering, because I'm seeing the wheels turning, what the man who wrote the book In Search of a Previous Lost Civilization is thinking about this, because he's very
from
practical.
this upside down perspective, 180 degrees change, it looked more natural than the initial image. So that's a point, but can we come back to this so I can show some things? Especially when you look, because, okay, let's assume for a moment that these rocks, these two huge rocks, are natural. Okay, let's assume for a moment. But when you see the right one in this case is completely different. It's, smooth. It's eroded, weathered away smoothly. And the left one, and especially on this version 1 upscaling, with this grid and this dark thing, dark dot or whatever it is, these are things that are distinguishable from the other rocks. So maybe it's a rock that underwent, someone cut it or someone created. Especially with this grid or whatever it is, it looks artificial. Maybe not like an object made of some other thing, but at least as a kind of megalith that was carved. Especially if you compare it to the other rock that is very close
I
to
agree,
it.
yes. Almost
Yeah.
like Maui on
Right.
Easter Island. That's
So
called pieces, yeah.
we want to be fair and transparent about this. Who knows what the hell this thing is? It's just one of many artifacts, and just some may work for it, some may not. And especially after given the other upscale, yeah, maybe it looks a little bit more natural. Again, it is really the totality of evidence that suggests something that's awfully strange on Mars, and any one of these things isn't really enough to move the needle. I've got just a few more if you guys have time.
I got it.
Oh,
Let's do
yes.
it. I'm having a blast.
Okay,
Me as
this
well.
is really fun, guys. Thank you so
I
much
love
for
it.
doing this.
And Brian, I think you should also add here and explain that we are looking to a planet that suffered a massive global catastrophe that took the atmosphere away.
Yes.
So you even talk about a kind of a nuclear explosion for the magnitude of it. So we are looking at a debris field, which is even harder to identify, right?
Yes, Mars was subjected to massive catastrophes, both natural and artificial. I mean, that's sort of it's a whole other live stream for us to go through. And that's the goal here of these sessions is to really try to present what we found over the past half century. Say, hey, for you guys who haven't seen this stuff before, what do you think? Are we seeing things, or is there something to it? And then for you guys to slowly ingest the whole story, which does include more than just structures and artifacts. Okay, we're showing this stuff now because it's the most exciting and fun to do. But as we get deeper into this conversation, it'll start fleshing out the whole narrative a little bit better.
Yeah, the first image with the cylinder was, I think, the evidence that we've seen this weathering of other rocks and then these other kinds of rocks scattered onto that. So it may seem that these were the leftovers from the cataclysm that were scattered over already weathered
Right.
and already destroyed thing.
Right. There was a comment that was just up on screen about electric
Agreed.
plasma bursts, which was definitely relevant here. We'll get into that later. Okay, so Sarah, what do you see here?
It's
It
in the
doesn't
center of
look
the
like-
image.
It doesn't even look like Mars. This looks like a microscopic image of something. Like I can't make
Tree
much out
bark.
here.
It's tree bark.
A spider.
It's a chicken nugget. It's a chicken nugget, sir.
It's
There's a
chicken
web
leg.
there.
Some fried chicken.
Megan?
Yeah, so we got this is an orbiter photograph. I know it's sometimes hard to tell exactly what scale we're looking at here, but just think we're thousands of miles above the planet looking straight down.
Are those circles concave or convex?
Good question.
Concave.
What we're seeing here,
They concave, hollow, depression.
To me, it looks
25.
like- Oh, I was just
The
gonna say,
scale, the scale's 25 centimeters per pixel.
it looks
go ahead,
like
Megan.
the
Good,
beach
yeah.
when the water goes out on the sand almost to me.
Yes.
Yes.
Also, I'm seeing what look like potentially meteorite impacts.
Right.
And then straight in the center, something seems to stand out, at least against the rest of it. I couldn't guess what it would be, but it does seem to look a bit different than the other impacts are displaying.
Right.
Correct.
And that's the point here. At a glance, from a distance, there's something inherently distinct about the anomaly in question. We're going to take a close-in look here. Credit to Jean for finding this.
Oh,
What the? You showed me this already, but every time I see it, I'm like, what the?
Holy
Scale.
shit.
We need scale.
30 meters across.
Okay, so it's an Ewok village. Right on.
Yep.
Nice.
Mystery solved. Next image.
Okay. Not quite sure what to make about that, but it looks almost like biological. Like it looks like
I think we can all agree that it's not an impact crater.
Right.
Did we find the gigantic spider in the remaining of the image or not?
The planet is healing itself, Ricardo. There was a rift there from
Yeah.
some sort of cause we can't imagine, and the planet is growing its
The
crust. back
fibers are
together.
growing back together.
What's
It
with
looks
these?
like
Sorry, what's
Ricardo,
with these segments? There's literally segments there. Like that's the strangest part about it to me.
it looks like Giga art from Aliens.
Oh yeah.
yeah, H.R. Giger.
HR Giga, yeah.
For me,
Right.
it looks
He
like
was
a cave.
inspired after he saw that.
Yeah.
And on this cave, there is something that's looking like roots of plants or something. I
Yeah.
thought initially that it's like crystallization of some rocks, but it's more like biological, not like minerals or something. So it looks like roots.
Biological or something that constructs biologically inspired, perhaps like a native species, hence Ewok village. I mean, goodness.
Yeah, but it's not like, because I thought that these are like crystallization of some kind of minerals or something,
Right.
but not like more biological one.
It's awfully strange. There was a comment that just appeared on the screen a moment ago about plasma or electrical discharge craters, which we'll get into in a different episode. Meteors are not the only thing that cause craters on terrestrial planetary bodies, but that's a subject for a different conversation. This does not exhibit those characteristics. This is something entirely unique, and I think inherently, as living creatures ourselves, we identify this as something more akin to biology versus geology. Now, we're just regular folks. We don't really know, but we've seen enough satellite images of Earth to know that something like this just presents as a strange kind of anomaly, especially when presented in the context of a surrounding landscape with identifiable crater depressions, of which this does not look anything like.
Yeah, and the cavern, as I say, is 30 meters across.
Wow. I gotta get in there, guys. I gotta go.
You're going to need a long rope.
That does look like quite the water slide leading into the cavern there on the upper left. So.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I need to throw a stick down there or a rock or something. Like, I need to mess with it.
Could we imagine this as, have you ever seen when they cement or plaster an ant structure?
Oh, I see what you mean. Where they pour the plaster into like the
When
termites.
they took the land around it, and we see all those like tunnels, but they are just
the plaster. Yeah.
going from place to place. I don't know.
You got a point there. It does look like it, eh?
Yeah.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
in-
So it's just strange, that's all. Those areas of black are awfully black, which indicates deep voids. But until we know more, we just want to point it out as an anomaly. Now, this isn't necessarily an artifact. I just threw it in here anyway. So moving on, we have this thing. Megan, Sarah, Oleg.
Hint, totem pole.
Hang on.
Yeah.
Give him a minute.
This is like a fun game show.
It is.
Yeah.
It's interactive.
It's not
I
in
got
the center.
nothing.
This
And let's see, you're talking about this line of rocks in the upper left-hand corner here.
Mm.
Okay.
The bathroom vanity up there, the light fixture.
Is that like a fairy tower there? Are those stacked?
If you guys were
There you
on
go.
Mars and you saw this, wouldn't you just want to walk over and just take a closer look?
Let's go.
Oh, yeah.
What?
Megan's
This is
face.
not a rock for sure.
That's even stranger than I was expecting it to look close up. And it's clearly like upright and tilted in the sand almost. It looks like it almost got like pushed.
What's the size of this thing?
Oh, I don't know if we know.
Is,
John,
is
you know?
this a candy bar with hazelnuts on it?
It's a Toblerone, isn't it? Yeah. It's a Martian
That's about-
Toblerone.
There's a comment, fungus also grows like this. All I'm saying is that this is so weird. It's obviously different from the surrounding landscape. The main point I'm trying to make with regard to public messaging on the artificiality hypothesis on Mars is that there are a variety of strange objects on Mars that defy conventional geological explanation. And it is simply too lazy to just apply the term pareidolia for everything.
Right,
sure.
and that's why I brought it up with that one object that I was feeling it from myself, but like the conventional like distraction, for lack of a better word, is just go pareidolia. It's all geology, but when you look at this, and I want to hear what Oleg thinks of this, but when you look at this, this is wild. This is a very, very strange object.
It's
and,
about 12 centimeters in length.
12 centimeters.
Really?
Huh.
That's it?
Yeah.
Wow.
Dude, I don't know, man. See,
If you look at the surrounding photographs, where you can see part of the rover, the wheels and stuff, the rover isn't very far from it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's about 12, I don't know, length of a hand, half an arm.
really? It looks so far away, though.
No, it's actually quite small.
For me, the
Yeah.
landscape looked like the dried land that sometimes.
Yes, clay.
Yeah, exactly.
like bed.
Exactly.
Yeah, dried
Yeah, but
like
for
that.
me, this one object in particular is not a rock for sure. But maybe I'm thinking also if this is clay, but trying to be skeptical for a moment. If this is clay, and we see this kind of lines that there were some kind of not erosion, but movement going on this clay, maybe. But for me, it's natural for clay to form like that. You know what I mean? Maybe it got peeled, but not into that form naturally for sure. So it looks a little bit like maybe teeth, maybe part
Oh,
of
yes.
the skull or something.
Oh,
but
teeth,
strange.
yeah.
Sarah, what's your take on it?
Chipped.
It looks like some type of like organic, like a fossil or bone of
Yeah.
some type to me. That's what I'm seeing here. I don't recognize it, but I mean, this isn't Earth, so
Right.
Yeah, similar things, but on a smaller scale, were like man-made tools made of fish skeletons. Similar here in Europe, but on a much smaller scale, so maybe part of a big fish or something.
That's interesting. I see an ornate totem pole.
Well, a very small totem pole then.
Yeah.
This is like the size of my shin or something. But John, you're saying it's smaller, huh?
Like the size of a shoe.
Okay. All right.
Give
I'll
or
take it.
take.
I'll take it.
Yes.
All right. Let's
Yes.
move on to the next one. Now, the next one I have to present is not quite as strange, but
Oh, yes.
definitely curious as to what you guys think of it. I don't want to characterize it before you guys have a chance to just soak it in here.
The chat was just going off about that last one. So many ideas coming in. I'm loving it.
Really?
Yeah.
is that a bevel? Is that bevel?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, listen, before we continue this conversation, what we're doing here right now, in this moment, is exactly what I would hope NASA is doing behind the scenes, examining every single one of these anomalies and saying, hey, look, there's something strange here. We got to post this online and give the public our analysis of it. It might be nothing, but let's open it up to discussion on the world stage to help solicit input from those people who might have a little bit more insight into things that, us science and computer geeks may not understand. Here's the question. How many archaeologists are on staff at NASA?
90%.
Doubt it.
Like none.
They
Right?
moonlight through the Smithsonian.
Yeah, but Brian, I don't doubt that they actually do that. Not on the level of the people that are receiving the data and passing the data, but above that, I'm pretty sure they have a cabinet where these people that have higher clearance are looking into these images and making reports.
Sure, but you say that and then you sound like a conspiracy theorist, Ricardo.
I do.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yes,
I
you do.
agree with you, but to make that claim
Absolutely.
makes you sound crazy.
Pending recent occurrences, we have changed that title to realist. So it's no longer conspiracy theorist, Brian. It's now realist. Okay,
Conspiracy
back
realist.
to your
Yeah.
program.
I'm with you, brother. I'm with you, brother. And I'm just saying, like, look, we're just regular folks taking a look at stuff and saying, hey, look, something's strange here. To see something like this, I mean, I don't even need to. Let's get a closer look at it here, right? The damn rover is called Curiosity.
And that's exactly where it stops, at the name of the rover.
That's it. That is where it stops. I mean, that looks like a World War II bunker, you know, from D-Day that just got blown over by the wind. I mean, because not only do you see the various angles and the straight nature and the layers of whatever that is in the top right, almost like it was poured concrete or something with a broken off piece at its own angle. But then when you get to the flat plane, which is obviously perhaps even has tooling marks on it, rounding itself off, then yeah, you need to rename your damn rover because it is certainly not curious enough. That should, you know, that's befuddling is what that is, guys.
That's exactly why we're laughing, but that's exactly why they don't release a rover with intelligence, artificial intelligence, because he would choose all of these things as anomalies and he would go to them and look at them, right? So that's why they keep having a guy monotonously going 1 kilometer an hour and then turn around, take a picture, but the rover keeps on moving. And
Sure.
that's, I'm very surprised why they stay 12 days at that place. That's
Yeah.
not normal. That's not normal.
No. Oleg, what's your take?
Yeah, I agree with the opinion that it looks like a bunker, and I think it even is some kind, maybe even of artificial rock to some extent. You mentioned concrete, because the right one, which is again circular, maybe not ideal circle, but it looks like a circular structure that is kind of stripping away, like parts by parts. So it looks very artificial for me, like some ruins. And these rocks also look brittle, different, and even the left ones. What kind of erosion is needed for the rock to be on that way? You know, it's placed like it was destroyed or something. It's not like natural one, like it was being chopped off and is still stripped away. So I think it looks like some kind of ruins.
And it looks as if it's been cast. Like what? It was like a boxed in
Cast.
area. They poured the
Yeah.
concrete in, and it looks like it's cast. If you look at the lines,
The dimpling looks like a curing process you might see in concrete.
Yeah.
I see that. Yeah.
So
It's
no
just-
one sees the snake with an open mouth.
You can tell Ricardo's touring the earthworks of the upper Midwest at the moment.
It's just strange, folks. That's all I'm saying. Okay, next
Oh, I
one.
do see the snake with the open mouth, actually.
Go back. Where?
Coming from the side.
There's a snake with an open mouth.
There you go.
It's pareidoile, most likely.
Oh, yeah.
It took me a second.
I see it too.
It's a worm from Dune.
Okay.
Oh, man.
All right, what you got, Brian?
Really quick on this one. I'm not the last one. I'm not willing to say anything like positive about this at all.
Sure.
I really don't know.
Yeah. Fair. It's fair. Okay. Sarah, Megan, Oleg, what do you got for me?
Looks artificial, like a stick or something holding a rock.
It looks like someone drove through there.
We're looking at one particular. Sure, there's a lot to look at here. The thing I have in question is one particular.
Right in the center, it stands out the most, the stick-like object that I'd say.
Do you guys know of any rocks that grow or that are formed in the shape of sticks here on Earth?
Yeah, but like not such sticks like this one.
Shocked quartz, Oh, no,
Oh,
no.
you
That's
see it right now.
bamboo, maybe.
That
Yeah.
looks like bamboo.
Bamboo.
I agree.
I agree.
Attached to a shovel? A bamboo attached to a shovel?
Okay.
Got segments
I'm
and
on board with
everything.
this one. This is an anomalous feature for sure.
We got
Yeah.
Dave, finally.
Hey, I've been half and half here.
John, did you discover this one?
Yes.
See, my man John in South Africa, the guy in South Africa, no one, like, come on. Like, my man down there is finding all sorts of cool stuff, and I just want to give him a fair shake because he's finding such amazing things.
You guys are gents. Thanks, man. I'm right here, other side of the pond, where white people are being abused and we're all genocidal and we're refugees. We all want to go to America. But yet, here I am. This is what I do.
Let's
I
make
just focus on this. I don't focus on the politics.
let's make an effort to get Jean word to the States one of these days, even just for a
man.
visit. Wouldn't that be fun?
I'd love to meet
For a conference.
I'm behind it. Anything you need done,
Yeah.
John, for sure. I've heard about his compound that he survives from there. So it's very obvious what a brave job he's doing by I'm sure finding all this information and put it out for us. But I'm sure it's probably healing and cathartic for Jean as well, considering the
Yes, it is.
conditions you find yourself in there in the ground. So
It's a deviation. Yeah, I use it as a deviation from what's going on around me.
So
Because you can't let the politics get you down.
yeah.
That's it. That's
You
it, brother.
just can't, huh?
Be the
Oleg.
change you want to see, man.
That's it.
Yeah, Oleg, Megan, and Sarah, am I crazy or does this look like a stick?
Stick. And even the
Specifically, it
bottom
looks like, yeah, and there's something attached to it. It looks like, but it looks specifically like a stick of bamboo. I mean, there's segments to it. Like,
Yeah.
Or
I
like
kinda think-
like a pipe that's had some wear and tear to it or something like that.
yeah.
Right. I want to
Unless
go up
there are
and grab
trees
it.
on Mars, that shouldn't be there.
It doesn't make sense in that landscape at all to me. I'm definitely not an expert, but I feel like most
Same.
people could have that conclusion.
And a sense of scale, this would be about 1.5 meters in length.
Wow,
Meter and
so-
a half. That's big.
Mm.
That's certainly big.
Yeah, that's 5 feet of piping. I mean, that's really good shovel for somebody about 6 foot to 7 foot tall.
Yeah, I don't think it's a stick, but it's definitely a piece of something that was broken off of something else that was this anomalous for sure. Like,
Yeah, if you asked me to guess off this tiny bit, Dave, I'd tell you I was at the bottom of a building perhaps that had blown up, and I was looking at pipe and sheet around it.
right, that's what I'm thinking. It's some sort of I don't know, tool or structure, a part of a structure or part of a craft, something like. I'm just speculating, but somebody dropped a comment. You can't argue against this one, and he's totally right.
Even if NASA just posted this to their press page and saying stick found on Mars and didn't say anything else about it, the world would go nuts. They don't even have to try to characterize what it is. New image of the day by NASA, and everyone else would do the characterization for them. It would lead to a global discussion of what this is. This is why what we're doing right here now is so important, is that you guys are spending time looking at this, of which the Mars community is eternally grateful for, because they've been marginalized for too long and they're finding such amazing anomalous things. So anyway, I hate to beat a dead horse, but it's just
I see
really good stuff
people.
here.
I see people giving justifications by the width of the shadow,
Okay.
Yeah.
but I would like an explanation about what is on the floor. Because
Yeah,
on
I
the
was looking
floor-
at that too.
The floor looks even more anomalous than what we are calling the stick. That might be a flat stone on its side.
Sure.
What is on the floor doesn't look like rock.
It looks like flat, sharp,
It's
sharp.
Too jagged.
Right.
And
Hey, in the interest of time, because it's getting late in South Africa, so I don't want John to stay up too late because he's got to work tomorrow.
Oh no!
I can go for another half an hour at least.
Yeah, let's get through just a few more images and then we'll call it a night.
I normally eat
Yeah,
the
it's night
snack.
here too, so
I
don't
go
have
to
much
bed
time
at
to.
I go to bed at 2 o'clock in the mornings.
John, I appreciate you sticking around, buddy, because like, look, man, like we're making it happen, buddy. Like you've been spending years of your life working on this stuff, and I'm trying to help elevate your material. And thanks to this crew right here, you know, we're finally giving you the proper recognition for discovering a lot of these things. Now, John Ward didn't discover all of these things, but he discovered a lot of them.
Well, that deserves a great thanks to Dave and to Megan for housing all of this.
Yes, yes. All right, so just a few more here.
Our pleasure.
It's not the blue thing in the center.
It's not the blue thing in the center. Dang it.
Ice cream.
No,
Is there like some kind of hardware looking thing up kind of the right upper right quadrant of the photo? Or
Strange
some weird
stones.
looking thing. And then there's like a wall looking
Big
thing.
wall
Yeah.
is standing out to me. And like to the right of the wall almost.
It's like a grate.
Like a fence or a vent
Yeah.
or a cinder
You know,
block on its side.
I
This is
hadn't
so
considered
fun.
that,
I love
that
this
little.
game.
Thank you. I hadn't considered the wall, but you know, I hadn't seen the wall before.
And all that skinny shit sticking out. What is that? It looks like a wishbone. Look at that, like
There
a
you
rib
go.
cage.
Yeah, we're looking at least what caught our eye, and we can look at the rest of the stuff later. But is this stuff here?
Yeah,
Oh.
Ice cream spoon.
ice
Oh
cream
yeah,
spoon.
that spoon. There it is.
It's like a
But
rib
not only
cage.
this, other
There's-
stones also like floating.
Yeah, that doesn't looks like something would snap off that was
Yeah.
There's a
piece-
shadow underneath of it.
Yeah.
It's like sticking out, and there's a
I've never
damn
seen-
shadow.
I've never seen obviously this isn't Earth, but I've never seen anything like that here.
It's got to be a different material. That's why you can see in certain places that when you look back on that structure, it looks like perhaps corroded or buckled, like, you know, a piece of metal. But then you look at places like our little rib cage or our whatever, our Coke spoon there, it looks pristine, you know, and obviously it's holding itself together more so than the surrounding environment. So something that was covered for a while and is becoming uncovered.
Can we zoom out a little bit?
Well, let's go back.
Okay, could that be because we all seen what looks like a T-Rex skull when it's on the rock, right? So if you see an open mouth and you see all those strange things in the middle of it, could this be a huge fossil? I don't know. Just throwing it out there. Could it all be part of a big fossil animal?
Can I ask what is this like whitish trail coming down?
Yeah.
I think the best
Probably ice.
explanation is a mineral vein.
Yeah, it's a mineral vein. Yes.
It is.
Looks
Yeah.
like mercury running downhill.
The other thing I wanted to point out was like this wall-looking thing. Can we zoom in a little bit on that? There's a shadow on it. It's on the far right.
You know, I don't know if I can zoom in on that. I got this in my Google Slides.
Okay.
It looks almost like a grid.
Yeah, and then that grate or fence to the right of your wall you point out there, Dave. That's
Yeah,
strangeness.
exactly. That it's got a hole in it. It's like a grate, like literally.
Like we've seen enough geology here on Earth to know that this just doesn't match what we're accustomed to seeing, and that's the point here. I can't characterize what this is, but oh, by the way, you know, we see if you can just examine, get a wide shot here on this, Dave. There's another spoon-like object that was found elsewhere.
Oh yeah.
Maybe it's nothing. Maybe it's nothing.
Maybe it's a fossilized bone.
Just throwing it out there for dissemination, for discussion.
A femur bone.
Let's move on to the next one here. Okay.
More, yay.
Well, following Atlantean ore, they would have known how to do monatomic gold, which they tell us was the crazy, you know, chemical that was popular back then. So it could be that the Anunnaki, who were much larger living on Mars with a much lighter atmosphere, were obsessed with snorting monatomic gold. And so we've got these giant spoons everywhere.
That's possible.
If I had to guess,
I see Ricardo shaking his head.
Yes, I disagree. A spoon is much more efficient to boil heroin. So I don't know what is he talking about.
Oh dear. Okay, I'm
Mo-
seeing something right in the middle here that sticks
Fossilized
out a
wood,
little
or
bit.
what is that?
Well, it's obviously driftwood. I mean,
They had boats.
bad
They
boats.
have boats.
But it has a texture
Megan,
that
what do you
is
see?
not natural.
Well, I'm just trying to like grab at what stands out to me in the photo is like almost like a little orange area in front of one of the rocks towards the center, like a darker orange.
I see that too.
A
Obelisk
mouse
right there.
trap. A rat trap.
I couldn't tell you what it would be, but that's just what sticks out, sort of to like the right above where the cursor is. That I don't know.
Yeah.
That just stands out to me.
Yes, that's what we're looking at.
Woohoo, I'm getting better at this game.
An Anunnaki Q-tip. That's weird.
If
What?
if
That
we,
looks
Detail?
like a destroyed container, like a plastic one even.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
Have we found two golden arches in there?
eh,
It's a form of McDonald's.
so keep in mind this, folks. If we're to take what NASA says, and I'll do that for the sake of argument, that the atmosphere of Mars was lost 3 billion years ago. Even if they're wrong by 2 billion years, which makes the surface of Mars 1 billion years old. And even if we go further, what if it's just half that, 500 million years old? The concept of anything surviving that long is a miracle in and of itself.
Yeah.
So, long story short, the surface of Mars is old, very old, and we have to call into question what our planet would look like after 1 million years, let alone 500 million years.
Right.
And if we come across something like this, what in nature produces something like this? This is the eternal question, but you have to consider the context. We don't have much to work with. We can't go up and look at it with, we can't all be like shaman going out looking at stuff up close, getting our hands on it.
It's hard to get barefoot to Mars, man. It is. It's very difficult.
As much as we'd love to do that, we only have these images. And when we look at all the variety of images that we have, to say that there's nothing there just doesn't sit well with me.
Right. It's disingenuous.
Mars Revealer pointed this out, and it definitely looks polished.
It does, and look, these
Yeah.
pictures, what I see in all of them, I don't want to repeat myself, but it's true. If it only kind of starts to make sense to your brain if you see it as pieces and you take it as a whole and you see, look, man, the same material is around scattered. It's obviously different. I've got a couple of pieces sticking out of what to my mind look like concrete, right? It only starts to make sense if I let my brain sort of piece it back together.
Right.
It's not confirmation bias. It's just how I try to make sense of it. And to
Exactly.
me, that tells me it's pieces of something greater.
How about what looks like a piece of wood, a little bit upper to the left?
Like petrified wood, yeah.
Yes.
I
Yeah,
noticed
but
that
we have
too.
minerals that look like wood.
Yeah,
Sure, yes, you do.
Yes, we have,
Yeah.
we have. But especially, can we come back to this like zoomed in image? Especially this smaller one piece that looks like literally plastic container up
Or
above
plywood. Or plywood.
No. Down. The middle one, this bigger one.
With the right angle.
Yeah, this one. This one looks
Yes.
100% artificial, like some kind of corner of some
A
structure.
container
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
brittle and pieces broke off.
Yes.
Looks like trim from
Yes.
something.
Yes.
Like
That's what I was calling plywood. It looks like plywood.
right.
Think the precision stonework like in the Serapeum, right? How polished and sharp those angles are. I mean, it
And-
could
and
very
the
easily
stone-
be.
The stone
ahead,
above
Ricardo.
it. The stone above it. I don't know if you ever looked at cement bricks.
Mm.
We use them
Yeah, it
in Europe,
looks
in
like
Europe, right? And and for sure, Alexander, it looks like
Yeah.
a cement brick that has broken
Cinder blocks. is what
because
we
the-
call 'em. Yeah.
because the top is looks like flat as coming from a mold. But of course,
and
in
the-
geology, so many things are possible that it's hard to. Be
Well, yeah,
sure.
and look at this rock.
Yes.
Look at this rock right here, where this is all rugged, but then we have sort of a surface that's
Exactly.
smooth.
Yeah, like a
Like
cement
plaster.
with some kind of like in the bathroom stuff. So we have.
That's
I
plaster
found
on
such thing
concrete.
here in Poland. A
The
lot
tiles,
from
you're
others.
calling them
Yeah,
tiles.
the tiles. The tiles,
Yes.
exactly.
Yeah.
Porcelain.
Yeah.
All right, next one.
Now that is a bombed out site in the desert. I can see the rebar sticking out of the side of the
Yeah.
concrete wall. You're not going to fool me, sir, telling me this is Mars. I see what you did. You slid in. You slid in a war zone from
This is
Gaza or
Devon
some
Island.
shit.
I mean,
This is Devon Island.
this is pretty obvious here. We'll just zoom in on it. What
on
rock? What rock does
Mars?
this?
It looks like some leftover garbage or something, like some kind of object, maybe not even rock.
Yeah, but what are those weird layers in it?
Rebar.
I'm seeing like a loaded clay. clay
Rusted
structure.
metal.
Clay, yeah.
Yeah.
Sarah was, I think Sarah was talking about these layers here in the very middle. There's
Yes.
like there's 3 sections. That's super weird.
Parallel
Like a
with one
three-story
another
house.
too.
How big is this? Do we know? Or you have any idea?
I would say from the distance and the context, that would be about 2.5 to 3 meters wide.
Okay, so we could rule
Yeah.
out, potentially rule out its structure.
Well,
based on
if it
the
is
size?
a piece of a structure, you don't
Piece
need
of
to
a
rule it out.
structure, Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Hey guys, I'm gonna put up a comparison image here, okay?
I mean,
And,
you know, 9
th-
feet, dude. It's a.
I
it's a
just
room.
want to say this: if this was photographed on Earth, they immediately say, "Oh, that's a mud brick house and structure."
Yeah.
They would identify it as such, right? But because it's Mars, immediately it's nothing.
I know. And then look at this.
Yeah.
John uses this as a comparison. What we're seeing here is rusted metal. You see how it's irregular around the edges?
Yeah.
It's not smoothed over like erosion would normally do. And you're like, who's to say that this doesn't look kind of like this rugged
It does.
edge?
Yes, the
Simply
CO2
does.
on Mars would erode metal like that, like you showed us in the previous example.
It could be a piece of a some kind of ship.
Mars disclosure keeps pointing out that it looks metal, and I definitely think this one looks metal for sure.
Yeah, he's correct.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Mars
So-
revealer, sorry.
Oh,
Martian.
yeah. Okay, so that's that. Let's move on to the next one.
We
got-
only have more 37, right?
What's that?
We only have more 37 to go through
Only
No,
37 more to go.
just
before
a
we
couple,
go to catalog B.
just a couple more for tonight.
No, don't
So
stop.
you have beach photography from the last hurricane that went through Tampa here, I see. Again, you're not tricking me.
That's it.
This is not Mars, boss. This is right after a flood here on Earth.
Okay, Sarah. Oh, like Megan, what do you got for me?
That's
Okay.
exactly what it is.
In front of the largest dark structure towards the back, I see almost in front of it what looks like right angles of a lighter object on the ground.
Yeah.
No, up and to the right.
Up to the right.
That one. That stands out to me. That right there, that lighter object.
And above, a little
And
bit
above.
Yeah.
It looks like parts of destroyed building or something like that, or container.
Some type of paneling.
Yeah.
Mm.
See, I have provided no context for you, but you guys are just calling it like you see it. You're using your common sense, knowing what destruction looks like here on Earth, and saying, hey, look, you know what? That kind of looks similar. So if we zoom in on this, of course, we'll just zoom in on the big object right here. Jason, what do you think?
Yeah, dude. Again, Okay, so immediately, if I've explored a lot of swamps, and sometimes in those swamps you find junk that's been thrown away or old structures that have been washed down, and then they'll have a little bit of mud drying on them, you know. But you look and you can go, oh, don't step there. There's plywood and probably nails, and I'm always fucking barefoot. So I'd walk around it, is what I do, because to me it would evidently be a sign of something not natural.
It also has a uniform thickness.
Yes.
So it could be a wall, a foundation.
If I've seen so many fake images. I'm not saying this is a fake image, but of like a UFO like buried in the side of a cliff, and that's kind of what this looks like to me, like just crashed into a cliff. Like you can see like the little top of the UFO and stuff like that. I'm just making shit up, but that looks like a crashed UFO. If
I don't agree. I think this is the platform from a tree house, but the tree is gone.
It does look like wood at the end on the far left. You see that? That looks just like it's wood.
Yeah.
Ricardo in the chat said, look at metal from 9/11 for comparison, and I did pull up a picture.
Right.
I did pull up a picture
Metal girders.
based on the last one. Do you mind if I show it quick?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. It kind of looks like I-beams or something.
It does.
This more makes me think of some of the last ones that we've looked at, but just waiting for it to show. There we go. That's a burnt piece of metal from 9/11.
Yeah,
Right.
it shows one that is a Catholic one.
Right, I was about to say, what are we doing with the cross everywhere, man? It looks like a melted
Praise the Lord.
Catholic relic or something.
I just wanted to pull it up for comparison because, we're trying to look at all different angles. And I saw a bunch of other ones that I'm not going to pull either, but a lot of them look very similar to the last image we were looking at. So.
Well, let me just bring up a comparison just real quick. That's all I got for tonight. But if we take a look at like this is what comes to mind when I see it. This is what
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what Ricardo was saying, right?
I mean, I don't know for certain, but you can clearly see this is not part of the ground. It's something laying on top of it. Then we have all this other stuff laying on top, really flat. Like it just looks like what debris field looks like after a hurricane comes through town.
It looks like paneling.
Right. So if we're taking a look at this stuff and saying that's just geology, like that just seems disingenuous to me.
Yeah.
And guys, we're just talking about artifacts. Jean has an entire YouTube channel dedicated to artifacts that,
Yeah, I've got close
100 more things.
I've got close to 10,000 anomalies.
Only 10,000.
Wow.
Yeah, close to 10. Yeah, I worked it out the other day.
You have
Close
to start
to
working
10.
on it, Jan. You have to dedicate time to this.
Imagine what he could do if we could get him in America and he didn't have to dodge bullets coming through the window every day, man. We could document the entire scape of Mars with you, John.
Yes. I would
Bravo,
put
mate.
a catalog together any day if I had the time and resources.
I think we need to take in mind that we're looking into something that it's not on Earth and obeys to somehow some different rules. Because, for instance, the structures, we haven't approached it, and I don't know if we will, but if we ever talk about the moon, because it's also part of this discussion, it also has anomalies.
Yes.
In the moon, we find these gigantic beams. One of it is called a shard, and it's more than a mile high, right? And is most likely made of glass. And people think glass. That's idiotic. Even the dome, the super dome that is being photographed there, is made of glass beams. That's why it's so transparent and very difficult to capture. It's because when glass is made in the absence of oxygen, it's stronger than steel. It is the oxygen that makes the glass brittle. So if we take oxygen from that equation, glass becomes stronger than steel. And so it creates a completely different nature of things that can be made of glass that we wouldn't identify as glass because we don't understand it as being something strong and could hold, right? Like the edge of that structure looks like a polymer of some kind, a composite material instead of just the metal, right? So we don't know what kind of materials these people are using to create these structures, if they are any structures at all.
That fits with the narrative, Ricardo, of the dark side of the moon. Then, if your theory about the glass, because we've got all those
Not my
photographs.
theory. It's not my theory. It's something that has been shown. Glass without oxygen is
The
strong.
words that just came out of your mouth during this show that you just introduced me to about glass, that would explain to me. Then there's stories of crystal structures, and are these strange photos from the mission to the moon that appear to be there, but also see through. So they call them crystal. But perhaps, as you say, in certain circumstances, it's stronger than steel to use glass. That's cool.
According to Richard Hogan, Mike Barra, and all of those that's researched the moon with them, it's part of the presentation he done. Uh, they assuming that it's glass because it's transparent. You can see from the photos that it allows light to go through. That's how they discovered the dome, because of the refraction on the atmosphere that shouldn't be there, right? So
Yes. Yeah, Max, Derek Shani, and myself are looking into moon anomalies on the side. I normally concentrate only on Mars,
Nice.
but we do look at the moon anomalies too. And I've released 2 or 3 videos on my channel about those huge rectilinear megaliths that were found in one of the craters. I can't remember which one it is now. Then those spires or long glass shards, I'm looking into those. The UAP that were photographed on the moon, looking into that too. Those blue orbs
Yep.
that Edgar Mitchell talks about too.
Guys, I want to thank you so much for doing this long live stream tonight for this show and tell. This is really much needed for the public to be informed about this. That you guys are taking this seriously means a whole lot to me. And Jean, so thank you very much. There's a lot more to talk about, but for artifacts, I think we covered the surface of it at least.
Yeah, I also wanted to thank everyone in the chat and everyone who's just watching and not in the chat. We really appreciate it. We're live on like 6 different channels right now, which is like totally dope. We kept getting comments, what a fantastic panel, and I totally agree. I do think we need a geologist up in here, so let's try to get Danny Hillman for that. But guys, I wanted to give everyone a chance to say, because this panel puts out so much good content on their own individual channels. And so I wanted to give everyone a chance to plug their own channels for a second. So Jason, would you go first, please?
You see it below me, Shaman711_ on X. X is a good place to find everything, really. I put my stuff on YouTube, on Rumble. I'm excited because the weather's good, man. I like to just go out and explore and try to make videos that, as I've been told by the audience that likes them, it just brings you along, So it's just about me going to do what I enjoy doing, going to find stuff out in the woods and bring folks along. And I've got some trips planned in the coming weeks to go check out some new anomalies. Antediluvian Alabama and Finding Mabilla on YouTube. And guys, it's an honor, as always, to sit around this table. Just to look at the faces that I'm sitting with touch me, and I'm privileged to be here with you, gentlemen, to learn from you and to bring, hopefully, some attention to this story of Mars, which I believe at the end of the day is part of our story. And we all know that our best future requires the truth of our past. So cheers, gentlemen, for that.
The future is ancient. Sarah has an outstanding podcast over there with it for Institute for Natural Philosophy. Why don't you talk about that for a second, Sarah?
Well, I am co-host of the Universe Unveiled podcast. Shout out to my lovely co-host, Jay Quillen. Hopefully she's still watching. We do new episodes every other Wednesday, and we do a news segment every Sunday at 11:11, and we cover history, ancient mysteries, spirituality, etc., all that good stuff. So come check us out.
I particularly love the news show. It's something that I don't think anyone else is doing in that fashion. So I totally agree. Check that out. Oleg, my man, what are you up to?
Thank you. I really enjoyed this conversation. I am very, very now informed. I've never dug this deep into this topic, so I think it was a great introduction for me into all of these mysteries, and it was nice that we all had a little bit different opinions on this stuff, so I think it was very, very good for me, so thank you very much to all of you. And I think you can find me, just type Alexander Czeszkiewicz into social media and you can find me on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and my book is Deja Vu Has Everything Already Been. In English, it is available on Amazon.
Nice.
Thank you once again for the invitation.
Link below, and I must say it is a little bit hard to type your name into YouTube.
Copy and paste, copy and paste.
Brian makes outstanding, high-quality videos about this kind of stuff and interviews with people. So what's coming up next, Brian?
You know, for those who are new to my work, obviously I've got the documentary film. You can go watch it on Amazon and other streaming networks. I recommend starting there first. It presents a lot of this stuff, but it also shows the whole story. We're talking about the history of Mars disclosure, the biology, the fossils, everything, panspermia, remote viewing, and some other crazy stuff as to relates to the destruction of the planet. But because I've learned so much after I released the film, I had to keep working on it. And I've got my YouTube channel, which is essentially the continuation of the series. So start with the documentary, and then you can pick up on and do a deeper dive into, you know, the things that we've been showing you tonight. You know, including the face, which we have to do a whole episode on just the face because it's a whole can of worms, right? But yeah, I'm sort of exclusively focused on Mars for now. But you know, every now and then I'll branch out and do something that might warrant some attention that just isn't getting some attention. So anyway, I thank you guys so much for your company tonight. Ricardo, I'm glad you were able to join us.
Totally.
Brother, Sarah, it was so nice having you here. Megan, it's nice to see you. Jason, Oleg, it's nice to make your acquaintance, buddy. Look, I really appreciate you guys taking the time to do this, and you know, hopefully we can continue doing this. And you know, I know it's sort of presentation heavy at this point, but at a certain point, we'll have a little bit more equilibrium as it relates to you know, the discussion. But I appreciate your patience on everything.
Yeah, we got to build the foundation first.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. For me,
The star of the show, by the way, star of the show, Jean Ward.
oh, lovely. Thanks. I appreciate everyone for being here, for being the ear, for being the skeptic, for being the believer. We need that. We need people that look at things from different angles so that we can get to a better understanding of what it is that we're looking at. Because I can get swept up in my work and get totally carried away, where someone will come in and say, but have you considered this and that? And those different angles help me to do my research better, to be more accurate, to be more with it. Because sometimes I get carried away, man. You know me. I've been doing this for 9 years. So you guys can find my work.
9 years and only 10,000 anomalies? What are you?
Yes. 998 videos on YouTube.
You just carry on getting carried away, sir. That's what
Yeah,
I
no, I don't want to spend time worrying about my life or anything. I'll just focus on this. It's my favorite pastime. Apart from my day job, this is what I do. You can get to see my stuff at Jean Ward on YouTube, Jean Ward Mars on X, and megalithicmars.com. That's my blog. And I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you for being here, and I feel honored to be in your presence, really. Each one of you is unique and special in your own right. And I like to hear different points of view from you guys. So thanks for that, Dave.
Back at you, bro.
That's what I think is special about this panel and this approach to what we're doing. Thank you, Megan, my lovely producer and Starfleet cadet. And she's helping me a lot. We're putting out a lot of cool content over at Dave's Multiverse. We got an episode coming out with, we're interviewing Scott Wolter about the green jar. We got an episode, we booked an episode with Randall Carlson. We just interviewed archaeologist David Connolly, who tends to be a little bit of a skeptic to what the alternative people say. But our mission is to kind of bring the two together and meet in the middle. And we think that's really important. And Megan, you do some other stuff too. What else are you up to?
I'm just starting to build a presence under Prehistoric Paradox on Instagram. I have one YouTube video up of the first time I went to Indonesia, but I've got lots more footage from the last time I was there that I'm going to have to get up hopefully sooner than later. Keep telling that story of what's going on over there and everything exciting that's happening and being uncovered there as well.
Nice.
Great stuff. Yeah, go for it.
For sure. And she's being modest. Like, she's worked directly with Danny Hillman on a lot of this stuff. She's been all over the world. And she's a real gem. I'm really happy to have her. Somebody asked if we're doing this monthly. I think that's sort of the plan right now, is to give everyone some time to digest this stuff and that kind of thing. And it's hard to get how many 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8 people all together. And it's just been an absolute joy. I mean, that 3 hours and 12 minutes went by really fast. It felt like a game show half the time. Like, what do you see? And
wrong answer.
Dave, I told you, and Ricardo, you need to tell us where to find you, because I forgot to plug our show, so you can do that. But Dave, it reminds me of when I first got turned on to this. I don't know if you remember, I was in the chat on your show, Jean. Right. You had Jean on like a year ago, and we were having so much fun. Yeah, I started saying in the chat, I was like, dudes, we got to come up with a board game, okay? It's find Atlantis on Mars before we find it on Earth, and we got to patent it and run with it. It was just so much fun. Yeah, funny you mentioned that. It is like a game in many ways.
And I just wanted to shout out Brian. He doesn't give himself enough credit for being sort of the public voice of this and helping to expand this community and get this information out there. He's really passionate about it. So I just wanted to shout that out. Guys, this was awesome. Thank you. And thank you, everyone in the chat.
Ricardo, where can we find you?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Oh, now he's ignoring me. Now I'm not telling.
We're so happy to have you here, though.
I want to say, if you guys missed the last episode we did too, we're like uncovering ancient pyramids and all sorts of larger things. Please go back and check that one out. Yep. So worth it.
Is this our third episode of Mars Disclosure Live?
Two.
Second? Feels like the third.
I missed the first one. I couldn't make it.
Anybody else got anything?
Thank you, Dave. Thank you, Megan.
Brian, just a comment for Brian. Sorry, just to say thank you for being the glue that's gluing all this together. You're bringing this all together, and hopefully we can disclose one
Brian
day.
is the star in the middle of this star system.
He's brought everything together so nicely, and he helped me so much with my social media branding and my presence. Big shout out to you, man. Thank you.
Thank you, Jean. I appreciate that. And thanks,
and
guys.
We do a lot of collabs as well.
Yeah, we do, man. I love my new family here. This is great. So thank you, guys. It means a lot to me.
And
go watch Brian's documentary, please.
Thank you to the chat. Everybody.
Thank you to the chat.
The chat was hopping.
You guys were amazing. So many people tuned in today. We're so grateful for your participation.
I'll go back and read the chat tomorrow evening.
Some good ones.
Oh no, we've got a success on our hands, and Mars Disclosure is coming up in the pipe. I can't believe we did it, Brian. Love you, dude. Dave, thank you so much for throwing this together. Ricardo, if you still want to tell folks where to find you, guys, thank you everyone that tuned in. This is amazing.
At Ricardo Calvario 1, it's quite easy to find. You can find me and Jason as the Shaman and the Philosopher. We are both in the Shaman and the Philosopher channel. It's a new channel that we created, or in the Institute for Natural Philosophy channel under the Roundtable Chronicles that we do every Friday. And go and look for my 2 books, Stardust and The Resonant Earth. And you can find my personal stuff in History, Myths and Legends, also on Rumble. So I think that pretty much covers it.
Outstanding. And I'm going to end on a quote from my boy, Headless Giant. I did an episode with him, and he said, "The future is ancient," and I think this applies to pretty much all these discussions. You know, when in the future, when we uncover more of this stuff, we'll find out that it's quite ancient. Guys, let's call it 3 hours, 15 minutes. Total success. Rock on, everyone. Love y'all. And we'll see you maybe
I just
in a
want to
month
know,
or
do we
so.
get paid extra because of the extra time, or it's the same?
No,
Well,
no, Ricardo.
I'm-
I'm getting
I'm-
your cut.
I want to know, like, after we get off, what kind of views everyone got as a total, because that's going to be interesting. So, good night. Until next time, Mars Disclosure Live community. Peace out.
All the best.
Thank you,
Bye.
everyone.
Bye.